6:05 for the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Good morning. I'm Will Bowling. The Titans have added a veteran quarterback again. 30-year-old Tim Boyle was officially signed yesterday. He spent last season with the Texans, Dolphins, and Giants, appearing in 3 total games, completing 27 of 50 passes for 276 yards with a touchdown and an interception. Since entering the league as an undrafted free agent in 2018, Boyle has appeared in 23 total games with 5 starts for 6 different teams. Wide receiver James Prochet is also signing with the Titans. Prochet played in 19 games and made 1 start for the Browns over the last 2 seasons. He had 3 catches for 21 yards and returned 49 punts during his time in Cleveland. Tonight, the Sweet 16 begins as BYU takes on Alabama at 6:09. The winner gets the Arizona-Duke winner. That one tips at 8:39. And in the West region, top seed Florida takes on Maryland a little after 6:30. The winner gets the Texas Tech-Arkansas winner, the nightcap, at 9:09. You'll be able to hear full Westwood One coverage of the NCAA tournament tonight, beginning at 6 p.m. right here on 104.5 The Zone. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. Off and running on 104.5 The Zone. RKW is brewed by Scooters Coffee with locations in White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. Download the Scooters Coffee mobile app today to order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. It is a Friday junior edition here in the show, and on days where there is NCAA tournament basketball, on Thursdays, it really does feel like a Friday this morning. What's going on?
It's going to be good, man. I'm looking forward to it. Kayla and I were speaking before you came in. It's like this is the longest, fastest, weirdest offseason I feel like we've had, and we're in the middle of March Madness to begin all of it, too, man. Absolutely love
almost
it.
April, almost draft time.
It is almost April.
One more month.
Weird.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is weird, man.
Thank God.
Yeah, I know. We're almost in it.
It's been always something in the offseason for the Titans in the last few years. I'll tell you that much.
It has. We spoke about that. You've been covering for 8-9 years now.
Almost going,
And every offseason I've been covering, there's been something.
Yeah.
It's the NFL, man.
It's the NFL.
It's just the way it works everywhere.
It is.
Wild.
It is.
Makes our job very easy.
Yep.
That's besides the point, though, because we got basketball tonight, and I'm actually geared up for it. I'm ready for some new exciting live events because the Ocho doesn't need to be on my TV screen as much as it is right now. Or
the Ocho?
Yeah, like the, they got like the arcade games from like some Dave and Buster's.
Where are you watching that?
It's on like ESPN, like Extra or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it shows
ESPN
at nighttime.
Extra?
It's not whichever one it is. It's one of the ESPN 2s.
News?
But like they have, it might be News or 2, whichever one it is. And they got like Dave and Buster games going on.
Sure.
Right now. It is like, what is it? The basketball game from the arcade? Papa Shot.
I love that game.
These people are air quotation mark. No, screw it. They're pros. They're pros.
At
Papa Shot. I was like, who regulated this is the questions I have. And ESPN, why are you broadcasting?
Was it Dave or Buster?
It was Buster. It was definitely Buster.
Had to be Buster.
Dave is the business-minded one.
I was also watching something I don't normally watch last night because I couldn't get my replay on my Apple TV to work to rewatch the FC Cincinnati game and scout them. So I got to move that to today just on my laptop, airplayed through my TV because Apple TV can sometimes not work for me. So I watched the NBA last night for like more than 10 minutes. And watched LeBron James have a putback to beat the Indiana Pacers. I saw the Vols were there and thought, you know what? I might as well tune in. I didn't see any Dalton Connect, but my Lakers got the win. It was a big night.
Good for you. Yeah, I did see I thought that was cool. They were in Indianapolis. What a treat for them to be in Indianapolis, by the way.
Why you come in like this today?
What? It was entertaining. This is the only way that I get entertained by the NBA is if I tune in for the last 8 minutes of a primetime game. There are minimal replay reviews or players complaining about foul calls. They review it, making the little circle with their one finger. But after the Bronversation on the Pat McAfee show yesterday, which was interesting, to say the least. LeBron was top of mind. So I was like, you know what? I'll tune in.
Yeah. You're not wrong, Will. They got what they wanted out of that interview, by the way.
I'm just tripping at
A fight with Stephen A. Smith?
Yeah, that too.
That's what they wanted.
People wanting to watch the game. A little more interest in LeBron.
But Will called it the NBA, and I just laugh because Will is
That's
such a
what it's called.
savant.
It's the NBA.
He's such a savant with sports.
The association was on.
And then
last
he
night.
attached himself to the Lakers like that also. That
I'm
is
a Lakers fan.
No,
Big
that
time
is
Lakers
phenomenal.
fan.
Big time Lakers fan. That was crazy. I didn't realize LeBron did that during the daytime, which basketball lifestyles is just way different than football, okay? Went and did a national TV show with Pat McAfee in Indiana, and he said, you know what? I'm going to go hoop later today, too. Like, with football, it is, and I think most people know this, but I'm going to say it anyway, like, it's one game with all your concentration and efforts into it. If you are doing anything on game day, especially on game day besides resting, rehabbing, going out for like a dinner or lunch or something like that for like the late games, or watching more film, you're wrong. You're wrong. Like,
what was your go-to pre-game meal
like
before?
Let's say if it was Monday night football, and let's go that way because that's what LeBron essentially did. Like, so you get there the night before, you have a dinner and stuff like that. Coaches are usually lax the night before. The next day, breakfast at the spot that we're staying at the hotel. But then you'll go to like a cooler diner or something like that. Steakhouses, for the most part, for dinner is usually what players usually go to. Like, in Philly, we never went and really got like Philly cheesesteaks because that's just like way too much.
So I'll be doing that
the
in
night
3 weeks?
before. Yeah, so you try to get something nice and clean. Although a steak with blue cheese crumbles and mashed potatoes and macaroni and cheese is way too much, too.
I was going to say, that's heavy, too, but man, it's good.
But that's the night before.
I would have been so slow if I'd done that in my sport.
The night before you
Big
cook.
pasta folks over here.
I couldn't do the pasta before. It just
Carb
made me
load.
feel bloated.
Carb load,
Well, you got to do certain kinds of pasta.
I do eggs, though. I was eggs, and I was mainly just protein for the most part.
What about the morning of a game?
I do egg scramble, a couple pieces of bacon, and like half a waffle.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Still a little bit carbs.
Some light, just, and that would be mostly what the day would be for the most part.
Peanut butter bagel. I never strayed.
Did you not?
Peanut butter bagel, a black coffee.
Peanut butter is goat for anything in the morning, I feel like.
With a black coffee, man, I'd have had to go to the restroom and everything.
Oh, you do, and then you go about your business.
I mean, that is also the point, though, too. But, like, as soon as you get to the stadium, like, you want to get there somewhat hungry, and you end up just coffee for some guys. I never did coffee before games. Gatorade bars, G2, and oranges and bananas. It's simple on game day, and it has to be.
Nice.
Because your nerves carry you for the most part.
I can't eat a lot when I have nerves.
Yeah, the nerves for the most part carry you. But I'd never go on a national TV show, though. I'm not also LeBron James.
Well, you've been on the Pat McAfee show as a guest before. What are you talking about?
That was crazy. I didn't realize how big that was. I was like, I'll do it.
Maybe we should also have guests be able to choose which pieces of audio they can omit after they get editorial control the day after an interview's done.
We should.
That was pretty annoying, to be honest with you. The fact that a lot of the audio was omitted, like there were audio issues.
I see
because the interview was the day before, and there's certain things they didn't want on TV. Like, it wasn't just cuss words either. Like, there were some, like, things that I think there was even one point he was talking about signing with Nike out of high school. And, like, part of his answer about it was omitted. It was like, did you just not want Adidas to be mentioned officially on TV? Like, it was super interesting, a lot of it. But
well, what I found out about LeBron, though, too, because he's a billionaire at this point, though, like, he does his post-game interviews, and he puts his stuff that he's advertising behind him. So, yeah, it may have been anti-Adidas, Will, to not mention.
No, it was.
It was.
I don't know if it was Adidas specifically, but he was talking about other brands as he was comparing them to his options out of high school with who he was signing with. Basically, the moral of the whole conversation is if you worked at ESPN and weren't in the room, you got flamed in that interview by LeBron James. If anyone ever comes on this station on another show and just, gosh, that Will guy in the morning, he's the worst. Like, that guy, those 3 in the morning just stink. It's going to be on site. As a former general manager has said on the show before.
It's such a weird relationship there at ESPN, like with McAfee, and then it's like they're 2 different entities, which they kind of are, but they're under the ESPN umbrella. He plays by his own rules. I will say that much. Yeah. Like, it is a different world. Yeah, and ESPN as well. I thought overall, though, LeBron was more, I guess, personable than I've seen him in other situations.
Pat make you unlock like that.
Yeah, because LeBron's hard to, like, even realize he's a person sometimes. Trump's not AI.
Very protected. Very protected, yes.
Well, he had the putback winner in front of the Vols yesterday, giving Tennessee some inspiration down the road.
Didn't see if Dalton played, man.
I don't know. I tuned in for the last 8 minutes, which is when I am entertained by NBA games, respectfully. 615-737-1045. Coming up this morning, Coach Dave McGinnis, of course, at 7:20. We'll talk about what a pre-draft workout is like. What are the Titans putting Cam Ward through in a private workout for a quarterback? What do you hope to gain from pro days? We'll dive into all of that with Coach Mack coming up at 7:20 this morning. Plus, Vol for Life, Chris Lofton, the pride of the Bluegrass State, will join us talking Tennessee and Kentucky. We'll have a Thursday Sweet 16 preview for you as well. 615-737-1045. Which team has won the offseason in the NFL this time around? That's next. RKW is brewed by Scooters Coffee, locations in White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. Download the Scooters Coffee mobile app today to order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. Winning the offseason is not necessarily a good thing, but it is something we hand out from time to time in the NFL. Like, guys, do we feel like the Titans last year kind of won the offseason a little bit?
Fair.
Heck yeah.
Maybe not nationally.
So. It got us excited.
But I think locally, the Titans kind of won the offseason a year ago.
I agree.
I don't think they have this year.
It was
that's a sign of good things to come.
To your point, like the momentum of everything they did, was exciting. Like it seemed like at the time in the offseason, the pieces to the puzzle, they laid completely flat.
So Buck and Lucas were talking about this yesterday. Do y'all remember a year ago, right after the draft, when ESPN did another way too early mock draft and they had the Titans picking first? And we, on this show, we're like, what? No, absolutely. That's ridiculous.
Yep.
There's no...
Look where we are.
Here we are. So everyone stay locked into whatever ESPN's way too early mock draft is for 2020.
We were like kind of mad about it too. We were like, well, wait a second. They're not going to be that bad. Look at the additions they made in the offseason. Will Levis.
Yeah. And to be fair to our past selves, national media talking about the Titans typically doesn't go very well because they don't watch the games. They're more focused on the teams that they really talk about 90% of the time.
I've really paid attention to that. Like I've run into some people through Titans radio that I've known to be like big experts and stuff like that. And when you hear them speak about like the Titans, you realize, this is just cliff notes. Like that's
a good way to put it.
You're not really seeing everything that goes down because that guy, that brother there stinks.
That's how I felt too in 2016 when I will not out the name of this analyst. But ESPN people, I'll say people, were on campus at UT and one of them asked, Kamara, which one is that again? Or Kamara, what does he do again? Like off camera?
Wow.
So, anyway. they got a lot to watch.
They were on the Will Levis train, by the way, for a while.
Yes, they were.
We were on the Will Levis train still, national media, all last year.
So if I can ask you guys one question. If we speak about summer of 2024, spring of 2024, what? Give me one reason or one person why you were that excited, though, going into the season.
I will say, honestly, Will Levis. Okay. I thought with what they surrounded him with, I was confident that he could actually be the guy.
Yeah.
I'll say it firsthand. I was dumb for saying that.
It was Levis.
Yeah.
It was a coaching staff for me.
It was
like they'd upgraded the coaching staff because we were coming off of Todd Downing. We were coming off of Tim Kelly. We were, Jason Hoteling. And it's like, hey, we got like legitimate position coaches and like a new idea. And to me, it was the style of the offense. It wasn't even as much Levis because I was still not totally sold on Levis. But anyway, number one pick.
If it was the 1B, it was probably that part of it too. Like Vrabel, getting out the Stone Ages.
Yep, going to the offense that we see nowadays in the NFL, or what we thought.
I may be a minority, but I was really up on the defense.
You were up on the defense?
Which honestly was kind of fair because they played well enough at the beginning of the season when they were healthy.
Yeah, I mean, you got Snead, you had Awuzie, and then just bringing in
Tavondre, you remember his conversation?
Right.
Oh, my God.
There was a lot to look forward to on this defense. It just didn't pan out.
And then, of course,
it did to start the season.
I think we were at least right on the defense because I remember saying word for word, like, if they stay healthy, they could be really good. And then they didn't stay healthy.
And then they didn't stay healthy.
And then they traded away Ernest Jones.
Ernest was so good.
And then Cheeto didn't get out on the field much at all.
He wasn't even in training camp.
Those veterans they signed didn't play. And,
Jamal Adams signing in training camp. I mean, it was.
Well, that one,
Quandre went down.
But we overreacted to Jamal Adams.
We did. Quandre. I mean, everything lined up.
Buck made that point yesterday, too, on Jamal Adams. Van Jefferson is the Jamal Adams of this time around.
Yeah.
The money tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
It's $2 million.
Again, I like Van Jefferson, local guy,
wide receiver 4.
But that is a very underwhelming signing.
Gotcha.
Wide receiver 4. Like, who cares? Honestly.
It was, That was I don't even know if that was a lesson learned right there for anything because you're supposed to be that excited going into the offseason.
Yeah, and I think, a lot of times it's just case by case, If it was that easy to project, this disappointing offseason or this exciting offseason resulting in a disappointing season means we learned this lesson moving forward, then everyone would be able to predict every season. It's just, it was the luck of the draw mixed with probably some things that we were overly optimistic on. But this time around, who's won the offseason in the NFL?
Who's won it?
For better or worse?
I would. I'm not sure if you have them on your list, but yeah, you do.
I asked for your list first.
Yeah, Bears. I think them getting it with the trades that they've made, the flexibility that they have to make those trades. Bears specifically getting Ben Johnson. As far as their, as far as the head coach, offensive coordinator pair up with the quarterback. Again, on paper, before we go further, that seems correct. I would even throw the Vegas Raiders in there.
Okay.
Getting Geno, right, is huge for their offense to stabilizing their team. Geno's at a point to where it gives them grace to figure out what's going on, too. And their stud of a tight end that they have, giving him some weapon. They locked down Max Crosby also. They have a good team. I'm telling you, like, it's going to be fascinating watching them with Geno moving forward. And then, of course, Jaden Daniels, like having the ability to lean into him a little bit more as it pertains to the Commanders and the offense and going to get Deebo Samuel and everything else behind that. So, no, take them off. No, take Vegas off. I know. Take Vegas off.
Just pick one.
Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota. Okay.
Well, now why Minnesota?
The defense.
Okay.
They went out and got Javon Hargraves.
It's a fair answer.
Yeah, they did.
They went out and got Javon Hargraves. They're figuring out the offense. Like, the offense is set. J.J. McCarthy and what has to happen with him. But being able to support him with that defense that they have, who else was there on their signings? Hargraves, it was... Give me 1 second.
Yeah, they had some good.
They had some good ones.
Good
but either way, I'll give you those answers.
They also signed center Ryan Kelly.
Ryan Kelly was a good ad.
Byron Murphy.
Yeah.
And another D tackle was there you go. Thank you. And Jonathan Allen also.
Yes.
Jonathan Allen was another one.
That's a good one. I hadn't thought about Minnesota as much.
They did.
Just because the talk has all been about is Aaron Rodgers going to go there? What's going on with J.J. McCarthy? But if you look around, they've really set the team up for success if they can get that quarterback position right.
Yep.
I agree. I think we all could say that the Bears probably had one of the best
early
free agent signing periods. Yeah, because they got their offensive linemen, and that's what it's all about. You've got to be able to have the line to support the young quarterback. For Caleb Williams to really be able to do what he needs to do and not get sacked, be the most sacked quarterback in the league, you had to improve that line. So you did that with Joe Thuney. You got Jonah Jackson. They also improved their defensive line in terms of pressuring the quarterback too. They were able to get what was it?
Dayo Odengbo, Grady Jarrett. Odengbo's a Vandy guy.
Yeah. So
is he really?
He is.
I didn't know that.
Look at me being the Vandy advocate.
Shout out this morning.
That's early for you.
Right?
That's all right.
I'll also
I know things. I drink coffee and I know things.
I'll go to the West Coast too. I think LA, in terms of the Rams, did a nice job. I think the biggest thing that we can all agree to is being able to keep Matthew Stafford was huge over there because we see what the defense is. They're young. They've found a way after that 1 year and putting it all in to still kind of maintain. And it is impressive. I think Garoppolo they got as a backup. They defensive wise, they have some parts there in terms of young guys. They got Devontae Adams now. I know they don't have Cooper Kupp, but Devontae Adams I think is going to be really good to have there as well with Puka Nacua. So I think the LA Rams sneakily did a good job. Guess what, guys? They have I think a boatload of picks too, like 3 third rounders. It's wild. Like they've got like a ton of picks earlier on that could also be beneficial because they've really done well in the third round of that draft specifically.
Yeah, the Rams have 2/3. They don't have a second.
2/3. That's what. Okay, so no second, 2/3.
Because they gave up their second for the Braden Fisk trade, which the Titans could have made last season. But they drafted Devondre Sweat. Was that the right move? Now a year later,
yeah.
If you had moved back, I believe 14 spots. Yeah, 14 spots.
Okay.
You would have gotten a 5th last year and a 2nd this year. You just wouldn't have Devondre Sweat. You would have had to taken somebody else. We did not criticize that in the moment.
That's
we defended that move in the moment.
I love Sweat. He's a great addition. I think he's going to be good, but now you think the spot they're in, the more picks, the better.
Would have been beneficial.
Yeah.
I still think Devondre's skills are so rare that I'm not playing an armchair quarterback and saying that was the wrong move yet.
I won't say it's the wrong move because I feel like he's a foundational piece that you have to have. Like, I look at the differences between Braden Fisk and Devondre, and I say, as far as what the Titans need in the division that they play in, Devondre fits the mold a little bit more.
Plays next to Jeff.
And here's another thing, too. At his size, what he did in his production, he to me, can be bubbling as another, national piece to speak about.
He's going to be a leader, too, on that line. I'm telling you guys. He's special.
And that, like, national piece stuff don't really matter unless he's productive. But you're right. He can end up being special.
Yep.
For me, I think the perception is going to be that the New England Patriots are back and won the offseason. I think it's totally fool's gold. I still think the New England Patriots are far from being relevant, especially in a division that already includes playing Josh Allen 2 times a year. A better Dolphins team, in my opinion, now that they have everyone's favorite 2 players here. And they still have money to spend, which is the crazy thing. But you bring in Milton Williams, you sign Robert Spillane, you overpay Carlton Davis, which, again, everyone's overpaying at the beginning of free agency. But I thought that was a really interesting move, bringing in Carlton Davis for $20 million a year. Morgan Moses, stabilizing on the offensive line. Garrett Bradbury is a veteran. To me, is kind of like his Ben Jones 2.0.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel to kind of build that offensive line from the inside out. Josh Dobbs is your backup quarterback now. Kayvon Chason, Harold Landry. I believe very little in what Landry can contribute to them moving forward. I just think he's kind of done being close to his best. I mean, he was last year. Like, Harold Landry is going to give you maybe 5 or 6 sacks, but his pressure rate is so unbelievably low that the only times he really is pressuring the quarterback, he's getting home and sacking them, but he doesn't really pressure you very much. And then Matt Collins and Stephon Diggs. I don't believe in Stephon Diggs at all anymore. I think he is going to fall off a cliff the way a lot of 32-year-old wide receivers do when they get hurt or when they tear their ACLs. So I think the perception is going to be that New England won the offseason because they got this culture-building stud head coach. And then I look up and down the staff, and Todd Downing is coaching Stephon Diggs and Matt Collins.
Exactly.
So to me, they are the team that, quote-unquote, won the offseason that's not going to pan out. The Washington Commanders, though, are the team that I think really won the offseason because they have surrounded Jaden Daniels with legitimate blue-chip talent that, if it stays healthy, is going to be a force to be reckoned with in the NFC East. You bring Laramie Tunsil over from Houston, Deebo Samuel. If Deebo Samuel's healthy for 17 games, I think the Commanders win the NFC East. I really do.
You trust Cliff Kingsbury with him better than you do probably Shanahan at this point?
Well, I wouldn't say that.
I mean, but
I think it's a similar type of. He's a similar kind of offensive mind. Shanahan, I still think, is the best of the best, but Cliff Kingsbury's ability to make Jaden Daniels successful in that offense has been really underappreciated, in my opinion. And then you bring back Zach Ertz and Bobby Wagner. You throw in Javon Kinlaw, safety Will Harris. I mean, they've got a lot of veterans on that team, and they have a good mix of young talent that is ascending and veteran talent that is still relevant and steady. I think Washington's really won the offseason.
I mean, you got Terry McLaurin, who's been a force piece there for years when everything's changed. Yeah, I mean, they've got the culture there. They've got, like, the quarterback there. Now they have some other additional pieces that can help the quarterback. You're right. If Cliff Kingsbury can keep up, what he's doing, because I know that there's been in the past some regression in terms of Cliff in things that, as a...
Well, maybe going to Thailand helped him out.
You never know.
I mean, it did in the regular season, but I think Cliff, the OC, has some different strengths and weaknesses than Cliff, the head coach.
The head coach, yeah. And so it's like, stay in that spot if you feel like that's where you can, be the best, because you're right. I think they could be a team that's one of the top favorites to win it all next year.
And then the other part to it, as far as them being favorites, they have a fear factor side of it too. The fact that Jaden is going to get to respect the defenses, and the fact that, like, even having Austin Eckler in the backfield plays a huge part. Who was injured also for a good part of last year.
That's right.
Like, having him, and I'm not sure what the draft class is going to look like, but if they can get another dynamic back, man, and one more younger tight end, like, they really are cooking with gas at this point. The defenses, for the most part, got some good youthful size to it. And it's a matter of them supporting the other side of the ball. If Bobby Wagner can stay healthy at his age right now, it's going to be huge. And if Johnny Newton, the young D tackle who's playing on the interior, can grow up a little bit too, they hit pretty good because, again, they got a defensive-minded head coach. I'm not sure if Cliff Kingsbury wants to manage an entire franchise again as far as being a head coach.
I mean, you probably do, right?
You probably.
Everybody wants to be a head coach.
What he did at first versus what he's doing right now Is he we'll take another stab at him head coach?
I think Cliff Kingsbury might age into the offensive version of Steve Spagnuolo.
Okay.
Interesting.
Untouchable as a head coach, but dynamite as a coordinator.
Right. I'm looking at the Commanders.
I don't think he's that yet, but I think he could age into it.
I'm looking at their draft, too. I was just interested in how many picks they have. They only have 5 picks. So this is something, too, where, they've reset the culture. Yeah, they've had some really good additions in the free agency. Now they got to start continuing to build that foundation too, because you've got a young quarterback still. So they've got like first round pick, they pick at 25. They've got a second round pick at 61, and then they have a 4th, 6th, and 7th. Yeah. So you got to make the most of those picks too if you're going to continue to, try to build.
You do, and I'm looking up the draft class from last year. They also already struck out on what should have been a future pick for them, foundational pick. The Emmanuel Forbes. Like draft pick that they took from him, very undersized DB out of Mississippi State. They've already released him. So that's like a first rounder.
Good point.
That they wasted at pick 16.
That's a good point.
615-737-1045. One of my favorite broadcasters ever is planning a retirement in a long time down the road. Who is the best in the game right now? Plus the story that many of us were talking about yesterday coming up next.
We Grow Hair is the place to go if you want to look and feel better this year. You can have fuller and thicker hair. Take it from me. I have been on this journey for, almost 10 months now. And I went to We Grow Hair, decided to grow my hair back, and it was the biggest confidence boost ever. You can do that too. All you got to do, give them a call at 615-376-6010. We Grow Hair right here in Nashville has been doing good work for almost 30 years with proven solutions that work. No one else in Tennessee has the ARTIS robotic FUE procedure and the multi-unit hair grafting hair transplants. That's going to give you 2 times more hair in one procedure if you're going that route. If you are just looking at growing some of your hair back, I know I had loss in the temples. That's all grown back. I've been doing the 45-minute laser and the PRP treatments. That's for men and women. Backed by the only company I trust to help my thinning hair, it's We Grow Hair. You can call them for a free consultation today at 615-376-6010 or simply go online to wegrowhair.com.
RKW is brewed by Scooter's Coffee as we wrap up the first hour of the show. The Titans signed another veteran quarterback. More details of that coming up in 15 minutes before Coach Dave McGinnis stops by at 7:20. Your thoughts on the F&M Bake Chat, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. That is where you stream the show. So Jim Nantz, in an interview with the Scottish golf magazine Bunkered, says that he would like to continue broadcasting through the playing of the 100th Masters in 2036.
Nice.
Says April 14th, 2036. That is my scheduled retirement date. It would be a perfect place to walk out. So that's the line that really got headlines yesterday. Then he also adds and says, now I know what's going to happen. I'm going to get to that year and I'm going to say, maybe I could do this for a while longer. We have broadcasters over here that have gone on well into their 80s, so that's one of those wait and sees, I guess. So it's not like he was officially setting it in stone. But I think it's awesome. And honestly, Jim Nantz has always been, you guys know this, my absolute favorite play-by-play broadcaster out there.
Listens to the stations, called in 3HL before.
He lives here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely one of the best. It's so interesting, like play-by-play, there's some young guys in the business that are really good, but
oh, thank you.
Will's one of them. I was actually listening to the show last night.
Yeah, I was too. You guys were awesome, man.
Yeah, that was really good.
You guys, y'all was speaking of Ani Mukhtar a little bit last night.
Right? Nashville SC knowledge.
It was. I heard the hate come out about the Cincinnati stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
I listened to the end of the show then. Yeah, late.
We were in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were in, man. 100%. Yeah, go ahead, Kayla.
But I was just saying, like, for somebody who does, play-by-play like Will, I mean, there's probably so many you can list. Mm-hmm. But, I love some of the old school people that have been around for a while. For me, I think one of the best in the biz right now, who honestly I feel like can do it all, is Mike Tirico.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is transcendent. Like, he can just do anything.
So good on radio too.
Right.
Which people don't realize.
No, plug him into anything and you're like, oh, that's Tirico doing his thing. He's by the way, guys, I didn't even know this. He's only 58.
Is he?
He's only 58.
This is a hair.
I feel like he's been around forever.
He's really, really good.
That's one of my favorites. Really I just think he can do anything and it's always good.
It's for me, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, so I'm gonna hate it, but it's two people. Iron Eagle, love. Yeah. Absolute love.
Great guy, too.
Got a new partner.
A+ person.
And if I am in and I hear him, I mean, it's because it's often, but Kirk Herbstreit. I like Kirk.
Yeah.
I like Kirk. I'm going to be real with you. And I'm probably
if we're going into an analyst, that's a different conversation. But yeah.
I just like the way I love his hustle. Is what I love about him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Him as a color
I love his hustle. As a color, like I love his hustle more than anything. But Iron Eagles in that and Kirk Herbstreit are my probably. And Charles Davis, I guess, is moving up in a bigger role right now.
Man, there's been a lot of movement.
Yeah, Charles Davis. So Gary Danielson retiring, which came out yesterday after this next season. So he saw 1 year of Big Ten football and said, nope, I'm good.
I'm
kidding, of course, kind of. And then Charles Davis is going to go with not SEC on CBS crew. I wish it was the CBS crew. That is a major win for college football fans. And I'm not taking any digs at Gary Danielson within saying that. But Charles is just so good and does so much homework and is so well prepared and is so well spoken and just awesome to deal with overall. And we had him on the show last week. So excited for him. That's just really, really awesome. I selfishly really wish this had happened in the SEC era. Man, I would have loved having UT games with Charles Davis on the call. Would have been awesome.
Phenomenal. Yeah. If I go back to a nostalgia part of an announcer, though, this is during the heavy Michael Jordan, like NBA era when it was just like crazy. Marv Albert on Sundays.
Marv Albert, yeah.
Marv Albert on Sundays, man. Like the voice, the way he called it.
Yep.
Oh, my gosh, dude.
It just associates with the Bulls.
It's that and like Sunday basketball. Like you hear Marv Albert on TV, you like, that's a big game. I loved him as in my youth.
Rapid fire, my favorites right now, television, NFL, Kevin Harlan and Jim Nantz. Jim Nantz is just my blanket favorite. So, again, there's more beyond that. Baseball, I wish Joe Buck was still doing baseball because I think he is terrific as a broadcaster. But give me Joe Davis on baseball, voice of Fox now, former voice of the Montgomery Biscuits back in the day.
Yes, shout out. Covered those guys.
Yeah. So, they were.
Kevin Burkhardt's good, too.
Kevin Burkhardt.
I like Gus Johnson.
Gus
Johnson's good.
Gus Johnson. Okay. We got some favorites on here.
Basketball, Gus Johnson just gets you lit.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. I got off my train of thought now. I forget where else I was going to go. But anyway, those are off the top.
Any young ones that...
Joe Davis is kind of the younger one.
Yeah.
Honestly, his ascension from the Montgomery Biscuits to replacing Vince Scully as the voice of the Dodgers is insane.
Dude, when was he there, Will?
I think when you were there, actually.
That is what? That's wild.
I mean, the Southern League is a good proving ground for broadcasters. And Ben Ingram, who I love, who's now the radio voice of the Braves, who was the M-Braves voice for a minute there. Because that's the grind I did for just one season, and I realized, holy crap, this is so much of a grind. I don't want to do it full time. As the number 2 for the Smokies, who are now the Knoxville Smokies, which is different. But yeah, a lot of good ones out there.
Kevin Harlan, Iron Eagle. Do it for me. I'm a huge fan of those guys.
The best broadcaster in the world right now is Peter Drury, but again, that's soccer, so y'all aren't going to know who he is. But there's one person out there in their car listening right now who's like, yes!
Yeah, exactly.
And that was for you, whoever you are.
You
wherever
soccer
you are.
fan, you. My friend Jake Zivin does a good job, too. He's
MLS?
does MLS.
I've interviewed him many times.
Yeah, worked his way up through the paths of TV. So.
It is a different world, though, too. I will say, like, as much fuss as like Romo and Brady and just everybody else that's gone into the industry has like made about the money. Like those dudes have elevated that floor, and like those guys like Nance, I'm sure is being well compensated. Harlan and Iron Eagle, man, you want those guys to see that type of increase too, because they're just. I recognize when they're good.
Underrated younger guy. If you have listened to Sunday Night Football on this station from Westwood One, Ryan Radke is phenomenal.
I'll have to listen.
Phenomenal. You'll hear him on the Sweet 16 actually this weekend too. He always does Sunday Night Football for Westwood One. Oh my gosh.
Ryan Radke.
So good.
Real quick, what do you think about JJ and Iron Eagle now? JJ is going to be his partner in the NFL. Watt.
JJ Watt?
Yeah.
I think he'll do fine.
Yeah.
I think he'll do
Bert
fine.
missed his calling yesterday because Shane Gillis does he did this skit with JJ Watt.
Yeah.
And Bert was just
Watt.
like, all he does is whine, man. All he does. And I was like, Bert, you missed the Shane Gillis because he calls JJ Watt in that skit, JJ whine. JJ whine.
Yeah, he did. I mean, I think he'll be a good game analyst. It's so different doing that versus being on a podcast or doing a
JJ Sharp.
Yeah, I think his mind is quick enough to do it really well.
Yeah,
for sure.
He's just annoying, on the field when he plays.
Straight hand.
I did not like him as a player at all.
Yeah.
JJ Watt. But I think he'll be a good broadcaster. I don't like criticizing people that do that job because it is so hard, and God knows I have never had close to a perfect broadcast and probably never will. I'm still looking for my first even 90% perfection. So I have so much respect for anyone that can do that at a national level and manage the politics and manage both sides of every fan base saying they hate their team. That's the thing about Herb Street. Like, everyone thinks Herb Street hates their team. I promise you he doesn't. I genuinely promise you he does not hate anyone's team.
No. He got chased out of Ohio because they thought they hated his own team.
Those Ohio State fans. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
615-737-1045. The Titans signed a quarterback, and we'll talk about it next. 7:01 for the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Good morning. I'm Will Bowling. The Titans have added a veteran quarterback. Tim Boyle was signed officially yesterday. The 30-year-old split last season between the Texans, Dolphins, and Giants. He appeared in 3 total games, completing 27 of 50 passes for 276 yards with a touchdown and an interception. Since entering the league as an undrafted free agent in 2018, Boyle has appeared in 23 total games with 5 starts for 6 different teams. Wide receiver James Prochet is also joining the Titans. Prochet played in 19 games and made 1 start for the Browns over the last 2 seasons. He had 3 catches for 21 yards and returned 49 punts in his time in Cleveland. Tonight, the Sweet 16 begins as BYU takes on Alabama at 6:09. The winner gets the Arizona-Duke winner. That one will tip at 8:39. Into the West region, top seed Florida takes on Maryland a little after 6:30. The winner gets the Texas Tech-Arkansas winner, which is your nightcap tonight at 9:09 Central. You'll be able to hear full Westwood One coverage of the NCAA tournament tonight, beginning at 6 p.m. right here on The Zone. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. RKW brewed by Scooter's Coffee on 104.5 The Zone in hour 2. Crew all here in studio. Justin Hawkins is our producer. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, and another veteran quarterback is joining the fray here in Nashville. Tim Boyle, the 30-year-old who split last season for 3 teams, Texans, Dolphins, and Giants. He has been a Packer, a Lion, a Bear, a Jet, a Dolphin, a Giant, and now a Titan.
Yes, definition of a journeyman at that. And what's interesting about him is that it's not interesting. I don't mean to be rude, but the 2 quarterback signings that we have had here in the last, month or so, it's been underwhelming, which makes you wonder, like, what kind of games are they playing? But it makes me wonder even more now with a quarterback signing like this, Will, do they have plans to ship out Will Levis? Because you have a full quarterback room right now, and you still are, what people think, have plans on drafting Cam Ward. It makes it even more confusing just because it's an underwhelming signing, and you could make this signing before camp.
That Tim Boyle, right? That's what we're talking about?
Welcome to the studio.
Got back in the studio, man.
Tim Boyle is the subject of the morning.
I had a lot of questions behind
Me too. That's what I just said. It's
I really
weird.
don't, honestly.
Why? Why make it now?
Just a 4th quarterback.
But why now?
He's a practice squad guy. Like, what do you, I don't know.
But you usually make those
body.
before camp.
I look at
Not
this.
always.
I look at his situation, and I honestly had numerous scenarios in my mind. I looked at this and said, I'm not sure how many times the Titans have had 4 quarterbacks in training camp. Is it a trend that they always do? Most teams.
Can I say one thing real quick on that?
Go ahead.
They didn't even sign a 3rd quarterback loan until like a month into the season last year.
But they had 3 in camp.
Yeah.
But then they got rid of Malik Willis,
Right.
so then they took a little bit more time to add another one. But they did have 3 in camp, yes. So right now they have 3.
They have 3, and the potential that all signs point that they're going to get a 4th. And only it's 2 scenarios in my mind. One is they expect at some point, because of negotiation for the number 1 overall pick, that Cam Ward may hold out. So why stop the flow of operating because he's not in training camp? If that is one of the cases, right? Number 1 overall pick, hey, negotiations get pretty silly, although they're mostly in line now. Like, what you're getting. They're slotted. The picks are slotted. The other one for me was immediately I was like, well, Will Levis is about to get traded. And you need a 3rd camp body to work with. Those are my 2 scenarios that I had in mind right there. I don't think it's playing coy with what the Giants got going on. It's either predicting Cam may hold out just a little bit in training camp or right before spring, or Levis is eventually going to get traded. Those are my only 2 options in this situation because Bull doesn't do anything for me as far as predicting him to be a starter and competition to be a starter in this league at this point.
No, yeah, he's a practice squad guy.
And these are barely backups too that they've signed, which is weird, right? You don't even think that you're that confident in terms of having them as a real backup. I don't know. Is that just me thinking this with the two signings that they've had?
To me, it says they are going to have an open competition for QB2. That's what it says to me. Between Tim Boyle, Will Levis, and Brandon Allen. Woo. They're going to have a three-way battle for the backup quarterback. And with the understanding that Levis, to me, is probably traded. Mm-hmm. And one of these guys is your practice squad guy. The other one is QB2. I mean, the Browns kept 4 quarterbacks on their roster last season.
It's also the Browns. I mean, respectfully. But Deshaun's situation, too. Like, I don't know how many safety nets that one quarterback has to have. Like, that's a crowded room. That's also a lot of splitting of reps if all 4 of these guys, if Cam Ward is drafted here, if all 4 of those guys are in the springtime. Like, there's not enough time to get enough reps for each one of these guys to actually feel like they're in a competition with one another. It's the only issue that I have with it. Like, all signs point to somebody's about to get gone. In my personal opinion, I just have never seen a scenario like this. Specifically, when we're speaking about, and also in my personal opinion, I feel like if it's Brandon Allen, Tim Boyle, and Will Levis wins.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like he wins. Just the benefit of having him, he wins. Like, you get the teacher out of Brandon Allen.
Right.
Like and if that's the case, why sign Tim Boyle?
Well, you know what's interesting about that? And this is just me kind of drawing the connections, because that's what we do in this business. There's connections everywhere. Obviously, Brandon Allen is a Brian Callahan connection, and you do wonder at some point, you know, because we know Brian Callahan doesn't have final say in any of the roster decisions that are happening. That is Mike Borgonzi and Chad Brinker. That is kind of, though, Brandon Allen is a Callahan guy. Like, I feel like he wanted some familiarity in a lot of things that he's probably not making choices with. You know, in terms of this Boyle signing, he was actually under Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur when Chad Brinker was up there. Yeah, so he is definitely a Brinker guy.
I'm going to be honest, that's a problem if they are, splitting signings.
It's interesting.
Like, you got your guy, I'm going to get my guy. Like, this ain't middle school no more.
You just never know, right?
Yeah, absolutely not. There's no rhyme or reason to it.
I think there is. I mean, they're just backup quarterbacks to help mentor the young one you're about to bring in. Like, I don't think it's that deep.
Usually you only need one of those guys, and that would be Brandon Allen.
That's March 27th. You probably only have one of them in August.
But no, absolutely.
But you want to battle out which one stays.
There's not enough time in practice to get enough reps in for these guys to actually have a competition. That's the reason it makes no sense. This to me, if you feel comfortable about this is as comfortable as some people felt about having 5 tight ends last year. Like, what's the point?
Yes.
These scenarios are the exact same.
You're essentially hiring coaches that are going to go play out there a little bit.
You only need one. Yep. You already got Brian Callahan and Bo Hardegree as coaches for. And also the Holtz. You got 3 coaches for Jaden. I mean, since Jaden Daniels. You got 3 coaches already for not Caleb. God, dog, I'm messing up all over there. Cam.
Yeah.
You got 3 coaches, and then you're telling me you also want 2 player coaches, too. That's 5 people designating what he's supposed to do on a play.
I'm with you. And and the facts are, if anything ever happened to Cam Ward, whether it be he got injured by some chance or that, things just were not going right, I think that's where my worries are right now. I know that there can be changes made, but the fact that Will Levis will probably be traded, and then you've got these 2 kind of backups of backups that have to take over. I don't feel comfortable with the backup spot if it were to be today that it was Cam Ward and one of these guys.
5 guys around him teaching him seems to pull away from everything that you need. Like, how many eyes do you need on the field if you're that good of a quarterback whisperer in Brian Callahan? You also have Nick Holtz as your offensive coordinator. You also have a quarterback coach in Bo Hardegree. That's a crap ton of support.
It is.
Well, so if you kept 3 quarterbacks on your active roster, you're still going to have a practice squad one. That's the thing. Yeah, you would. If you have Will Levis and Brandon Allen.
No, you could.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You could.
Like, everyone has a practice squad quarterback.
That's fair. But usually teams that keep 3 quarterbacks don't have the practice squad quarterback.
Sometimes.
Usually.
Yeah.
Usually you do not. This situation is, again, there's nothing wrong with all of these signings. Absolutely not.
They got to do what they got to do.
when you bring in two dudes who are this type of backup and have this type of play over the course of their careers, it just doesn't lend itself to make any sense to me.
No, I would see if they did Brandon Allen and you had Brandon Allen and Will Levis, and then you go figure out what happens during the after the draft. Okay, I could see that. You trade Will, you have Brandon Allen, you bring in another guy. Why bring in another guy this so early that's the similar kind of
very similar.
Yeah, that followed the same kind of track as Brandon Allen. I don't know.
Other than Chad having Tim Boyle,
yeah,
and Callahan having what's his name, Brandon Allen. That's the only relation I have to it, and stuck in the middle. Like I said, I'm leaning more towards one of these guys is about to go, and then one of those guys seem to be Will Levis, because you need three guys to get you through. Like at this point, with the way OTAs will go, like the early parts before the draft, where they can get on the field somewhat, like there's not that many bodies to have that many separation of reps, especially with them being this big, like this long veteran. Like Vols has been around, like Allen has been around, and Levis is going to have an expectation of plays too.
If there's not that many reps in training camp, then go ahead and add them in the spring. More time to have reps, honestly. I think it's part competition for QB2, and it's mostly, hey, we want good mentors around our young quarterback, and let's bring in two guys that we trust. Because we don't know if Will Levis is going to be here to help show him the ropes, and we don't know if we want Will Levis showing him the ropes.
Who's the first one that he's going to go to, you think, as far as being a mentor to him? Like, who's the first?
Out of those two, out of the whole, everyone available to him? I'd say Brian Callahan. Brian Callahan, Nick Holtz are probably his guys, with Bo Hardigree as well. But again, like I don't think it's that big a deal.
I don't think it's that big of a deal, but it's, like I said, we don't know how they operate as a front office just yet.
We don't have that data. You're right.
Well, it's the same thing we were talking about with not just saying you're going to pick Cam Ward. They're just giving themselves options. Like, at this point, if you traded Will Levis, if you got a deal for him, great. You still got three quarterbacks. If you keep him, great. He can be, QB 2 or 3, and you could have these guys sit on the practice squad. I don't think it hurts Will Levis to have some level of competition pushing him every day in practice.
Right. If he's the guy. If he's the guy that's staying here, as QB2.
Will Levis?
But I don't think he is.
We'll see. I don't think it helps you to do that move now.
No.
I think if you're going to trade Will Levis, you should wait till he can get some preseason snaps and convince teams that there's something there again.
They did it with Willis.
Because his stock it couldn't be lower right now. Not to say it's going to really go up that much, but like you're not getting, I don't think, a 2025 pick that you're really excited about anyway for him, so you might as well wait. Maybe you could increase the round you're getting for Will Levis.
For sure.
If you just waited a little bit of time.
Keep him in training camp, yeah. And
that's what I would do.
I kind of like that, even for Cam Ward, to have somebody like, he's not going to stay here probably, but just to have Will Levis in training camp.
Quarterbacks are just special creatures.
Yeah.
They are.
No, they're different.
This is one of the positions where you don't rock the boat at.
Right.
You do not. Look at Will Levis as unstable he was. Look at Tannehill when it's as stable as he was. Like, you can go down the list. Like, Marcus. Like, I've heard all of these conversations about how these quarterbacks here have been super unstable. Yeah. And to add a different vice to it as far as this big of a room, and especially at their ages, too.
One of my just rules as an NFL fan is I don't get really worked up positively or negatively about vet minimum moves. Okay. Another body.
So many of them.
Cool.
But y'all know, I know teams have to make sense, though.
Yeah, they do.
Mm-hmm.
This don't make any sense.
And right now, that's just and there's been some underwhelming moves. There's been some good moves, too, but this is a head
Give me a
scratch.
Gunner on special teams before you sign Tim Boyle.
For sure.
You got James Prochet, special teamer. You got to sign him yesterday, too.
Bert loved him.
Yeah.
Bert loved him.
Punt returner. There you go. See you at your class.
Special teams.
Coming up, Coach Mack, Titans Radio, joins us next. RKW Brew by Scooters Coffee with locations in White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood continues here in hour number 2. Coach Dave McGinnis joins us Thursdays at 7:20. Brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer, Two Rivers Ford. Mac, how we doing?
Well, doing good. Kayla, Ramon, good morning.
Hey, Mac.
This morning, right?
Well, sorry, what's that?
The whole crew's there this morning, right?
Yeah, we were all in attendance. Yes, sir.
Very good. I had a nice talk with Ramon yesterday because I had a conversation yesterday with Joe Green, and then he wanted me to tell Ramon hello, so I did my due diligence.
Yeah, you also, Coach Mac, to Hall of Famers, still have to give advice to them too, Coach Mac, about keeping their powder dry. Because why? The NFL offseason give you a lot of mess, Coach Mac, with no answers. That's what we have to deal with today.
Certainly.
Well, Joe's a really good friend. You know, Joe and I worked together for 8 years there at the Cardinals, and we've always kept a very close relationship. He had a few questions. He always calls. I always know when he calls that he wants something important. But one of the things he said was, "Tell Ramon hello," and so I couldn't tell Joe I would and wouldn't do it.
That's awesome, Coach Mac.
Man of his word.
That makes me smile, man. And, hey, he even knows who I am, Coach Mac. That makes my day right there. I'm done. Y'all can just cancel the show for the rest of the day.
Ramon's off the rest of the day.
Once a Steeler, always a Steeler. That's a legitimate thing there.
No doubt.
It is, Coach Mac.
Coach Mac, we're trying to parse through some of the moves the Titans have made and bringing in Tim Boyle yesterday, Mac. But what is the value of having potentially 4 quarterbacks in camp if Cam Ward does get drafted here? And what can Tim specifically bring to the table in a quarterback room that's getting pretty crowded?
Well, it's way too early to worry about the dynamics of the room right now. I mean, it really is. I mean, really, you've got 3 quarterbacks right now. I mean, so it's a little early in the game to get all concerned and worked up about what the dynamics of that room are going to be, if that's going to be the room. I mean, that's where you are right now. I do know this. I mean, they have nowhere near this roster, even the numbers that they need when we talk about going to OTAs. They got to get 90 people. They got to get 90 people together. And the thing about the OTAs, all the way through OTAs and then through training camp, especially now the way camps are, you're always going to need multiple quarterbacks. And the other thing that you always are going to need, you're going to need numbers at receiver, and you're going to need numbers at DB, because with the least amount of pads that you're allowed to do and work with now, you've got a lot of 7-on-7 stuff going on. You have a lot of throwing that you're going to have to do. So, but it doesn't even move the needle for me this early, guys, to even start trying to put together what's going to be the dynamics of those rooms, because we're a long way from filling this roster out yet, as you guys well know.
So, Coach Mac, when you go to a pro day as a head coach, as a position coach, the Titans reportedly took Cam Ward out to dinner the night before he threw at Miami. What is that process like as a coach, and what are you watching for specifically? What is most important for you as a coach going to something like that?
Well, there's 2 different workouts. I mean, there's the school workout where you have all the teams there that they've just accomplished down there in Miami. That's an entirely different animal than it is when you go to a private workout, because the one that you go to at the school, that's orchestrated by them, and I'm talking about at the school. That's set. They have a set program that they run, because you've got a lot of people that you're running through it. All right, so you're just part of 32 entities that are there watching. Now, they did take him to dinner. They spent clearly extra time with him, but everybody else was there. Now, when you go to the private workout, that's the one that you, as a team, you can orchestrate that. I mean, I've done a lot of different ways with private workouts. I mean, all the private workouts I've been to, with quarterbacks, I've even been to some where we've flown our receivers down to the private workout. Mm-hmm. They went with us. And I don't know I do kind of know what would go on in those meetings that they had down there to as a precursor to a private workout, Will. But if they went over just even the skeleton of something that you would be presenting, and I know that I've done this at all the places that I've been with quarterbacks, kind of give them an idea of, how a play call is, what you're looking at, what you're trying to accomplish. Then when you go down there and you're orchestrating the workout, then you can get a lot more detailed with what you want to see exactly as to how they can not only pull in information, but how they can put the information back out to you. And then, I've gone so far as to have, coaches standing in spots and mirroring different defenses, as to where the routes would be thrown. It's the private workout is completely different than the one that they've just had, because you as a club now in a private workout, you orchestrate all of it.
Coach Mack, the Titans earned, I heard you say this a little bit yesterday, the number 1 overall pick, and that's not something to be proud of, except on draft night when you have the entire draft at your disposal. When it comes down to that, Coach Mack, I think all signs, most people haven't kept their powder dry when it comes down to just what they think the Titans are going to do. Mike Borgonzi, whether it's playing coy or not, said everything is still on the table. Why is it important to have that mindset, Coach Mack, still going into draft night if it even still seems obvious?
Well, you're just way too early to show any of your cards. Really, the cards have been dealt as far as to where you're picking, and you never want to earn this number 1 pick. You're right, Ramon. You just don't want to. But if you do, if you've gone through the pain of earning it, then you need to capitalize on it. And the way you capitalize on it, nothing's going to happen in this draft until the Titans do something. Nothing. And so that's a card you need to keep very close to your vest all the time. But all the time that you're keeping that close to your vest from the general public and from everybody that's looking, you've got a plan formulated. So, they are playing it exactly right. There's no reason at all. And that's why anybody in their right mind that's ever been in this business on the inside of it knows that you're not going to tell anybody what you're doing right now. There's zero advantage to it. In fact, it's a detriment, for any of that stuff to go out, especially if you're holding the first pick. Mm-hmm. Most of this stuff and you guys are savvy enough, and our listeners are too. All the stuff that's put out by people that have made a cottage industry of this, which is great. It's great. It's great for them. I just did a thing with SI just about the anticipation of drafts and the momentum that it builds. All of that stuff is good, but the thing that you have to keep in mind, what's going on in organizations and behind closed doors, if anybody is leaking that information out, they won't be in the business very long, because that's the worst thing that you can do. So everything is going to be held really, really close right now. So here's what you believe. I think you can believe the Titans. They told us what they were going to do as far as free agency. They weren't going to go out and spend in free agency like they tried to do last year. That was going to be off the table, but they were going to do an extensive job of vetting this draft. They are doing that. So whatever you hear from them, they're telling you the truth. They're just not telling you all of it.
Gotcha. Coach Mack, one of the things the Titans need help at is edge, off-ball linebacker, and probably wide receiver too. And I want to ask you about the wide receivers. One in particular, we saw a little bit that could be where the Titans need them. That's Jack Bech, Coach Mack, out of TCU. What have you seen in your Frog? Yeah. What have you seen in your pre-draft analysis of him?
Frog. I've got him right now. I can read you the guys that are in. Well, I'll just read you what I've got on the draft board right now. We're getting ready to reset it. But you're talking about that. You're talking about a second or third pod guy, correct? That's what.
Yes, sir.
Because the first round guys that I've got in the first round, just for fun, just because we're talking together now.
Yes, sir.
Ted McMillan, Luther Burden, Emeka Egbuka, Matthew Golden from Texas. And then it goes right real quick. Jaden Higgins from Iowa State, Jalen Rose from Utah State, Trey Harris, Jalen Noel, Jack Bech from TCU, the A.O. Manor kid from Stanford, and then Isaiah Bond from Texas. Those guys are in that next pond. Jack Best did himself a lot of favors at the Senior Bowl. I mean, we know what all the story was with his brother, but just when he transferred into TCU, he was an immediate hit, because this guy is a bigger slot receiver, is what he is. Does not have elite speed, but he's got really, really elite body control and the ability to get open. And plus, he is a combat catcher within that slot. The other thing that he's a really good contact balance guy once he has the ball in his hands. I think he will go somewhere in that second or third pod of players as far as receivers go. The one thing that I do know that you could tell, even from when we were sitting together down there at the Senior Bowl and watching him, Ramon, practice after practice, this guy is hyper focused on what's going on right now, with not only because of the tragedy with his brother, but that's the way he was. Because I talk to frogs down there all the time, and they told me immediately, this guy's going to make a difference when he comes in. And that's the same thing he's going to do in the camp. He's just going to be a solid player, is what he's going to be, both on and off the field. So you're going to get a solid pro that's a mature guy coming into the league, which a lot of times, especially as quick as guys have to play nowadays, the way that it's orchestrated and set up, I think he's a guy that it won't be overwhelmed by what the duties are coming in to be a professional.
Coach Mack joining us this morning on RKW. We're talking a little bit about the NFL draft, of course, the Titans. So on the note of wide receivers, it doesn't happen often, but we saw it in a scenario where Joe Burrow in his rookie year got a guy like Jamar Chase, where he was familiar with him at LSU. Obviously, they won a title together. If Cam Ward is the guy, there are guys that he has worked with in his college career. Most recently, Xavier Restrepo, Kyle Williams with Washington State. Is that a thing where you could possibly see the Titans going for a guy that Cam Ward is familiar with, or is that just happenings if it happens?
Well, look, Jamar Chase is going to be a number one pick, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's the dude. I mean, there are players, then there are dudes. This guy was a dude, and I mean, that was regardless of whether Joe Burrow was there or not. I mean, he was one of the best. He was the best probably receiver in the draft at that time. So that's a little bit different. Now, you start looking at people that guys have played with, a quarterback to a receiver, to your point, at two different spots, because the way the transfer portal is now, these guys are playing at a lot of different spots. It would have to be the point in time as to where the draft falls, as to where that receiver would fall on your board if that matches up. You're not going to take a guy just because he played with your quarterback. That's not going to happen.
Coach, we've talked a lot about, defensive guys in terms of the edge and the wide receivers. And I think all of us are comfortable saying, well, the running backs room looks good right now. But there are a lot of backs in this draft that, I feel like if you could get one late, is that something that the Titans could do?
Well, sure. And I agree with you. The belly of the draft for these running backs is really good. I mean, they brought Caleb Johnson in here for a 30 visit, correct?
Yeah, correct.
I mean, that's a guy that's a workhorse back in the league. I mean, and you can see him do things at Iowa in that offense that, if you're running an outside zone, he fits right in with that. And when you watch Caleb Johnson, if we just want to talk about him for a minute, the thing that's impressive about him is in the fourth quarter, he's still ginning pretty good. He's a very patient runner, but he's a workhorse. He's a workhorse back that can also catch the football. The thing that's unique about the belly of the draft for these running backs, just because of the nature of offenses now, not in the collegiate game, most of these guys can catch now. I mean, most of these guys have, some have run more sophisticated route trees than others. But this group of backs, you start going through them and you start, checking off the boxes as far as 3 down back, if you want to put air quotes around that, Most of them can do that. Caleb Johnson is one of those guys, but he's a bigger one of the bigger backs in this draft, and he's a pretty good workhorse back. But to answer your question, yes. I mean, after Ashton Jeanty and Omarion Hampton, Caleb Johnson, Travion Henderson and Judkins from Ohio State, Devin Neal from Kansas, Dylan Sampson from Tennessee. I mean, that's the guy that can do a lot of things for you, and you can just keep on going down. A guy that I really like is going to be down in the draft that I've kind of done the research on. Started out at North Carolina A&T, ended up at Virginia Tech. Keep your eye on this guy, or go just when you got a minute, just put on some of the tape and look at this guy, Basil Tootin from Virginia Tech. I mean, he tested off the charts, but when his film kind of matches what his physical numbers were when he tested out at the combine. So there are guys in this draft as a running back that we're going to see come off the board throughout this draft that I think will be able to help people pretty early. Not either as a rotational back, which this group is a little bit larger than I thought it would be once we started putting this board together.
Coach Mack, what can you tell us about Terrence Ferguson, the Oregon tight end, who reportedly was also on a visit with the Titans this past week?
Big slot tight end receiver, has got good speed. You check his numbers. He ran a 4.63 at the combine, but his 10-yard was very good too. He's more of a slot type removed receiver. He does some inline blocking, but that's not his forte. His forte is he's a linear guy that is as I said, the 4.63 is legit. Plus, he's got good feet. He's got flexible lowers. I like this player. I like him, and I think that he will be a guy that will probably be down there somewhere in that second or third pod. That if you're wanting to add a receiving tight end to what's going on with your offense, he's a pretty good choice.
He is Coach Dave McGinnis, joining us Thursdays at 7:20 here on the show, making us smarter as we continue the build-up to the NFL Draft. Good stuff as always, Mac. Thank you.
Thanks, Mac.
Thanks, Coach.
Guys, always enjoy the visit. I don't know how much smarter we got, but we had a good time. See you.
Always do.
See you, Mac.
I love it. There's Mac here with us this morning talking draft prospects. 615-737-1045, the number. Coming up, there is one ESPN analyst who is picking Kentucky over Tennessee tomorrow. And we'll explain why next.
We've got the trucks, all the trims, all the towing, all the bells and whistles, and all at Truck Month Savings. Two Rivers Ford is Ford Truck Central.
Nashville is a happening place. We all know that if we live here. Or maybe you're just moving here and you need a real estate agent you can trust. That's why you need to check out my friend Bernie Gallerani. Bernie Gallerani, he's got the years of experience. He also knows the neighborhoods and cares about your buying and selling goals to make him a perfect fit. In fact, Bernie guarantees to sell your home in 30 days or less, or heck, he's just going to buy it from you. Finding the right home, it's going to take time. And for Charisse, that meant 6 months of searching for the perfect place. That's where Bernie Gallerani Real Estate made a huge difference. From day one, the team was patient, answering every question and making the entire process smooth and stress-free. So when Charisse was ready to buy, they found her perfect home. Bernie is the only real estate agent in Nashville recommended by Barbara Corcoran of Shark Tank, and the only agent I would trust to sell my home. All you got to do, give him a call on his cell phone, 615-428-2644. That's 615-428-2644, or head to BernieGallerani.com.
RKW is brewed by Scooter's Coffee, wrapping up the first half of your Thursday morning. Friday Junior around these parts.
Yes.
If you're tired of draft talk, well, we've got a lot of hoops coming up for you as the show continues this morning. Chris Lofton going to come on in a half hour.
Woo,
Plus
nice.
a Thursday night preview of Sweet 16 Hoops. We'll give you each team's path to victory in hour 4. Coming up at 9:20 this morning. Seth Greenberg, ESPN analyst, is going with Kentucky over Tennessee. Interesting. I've not heard a lot of this opinion, but we did get this on SportsCenter earlier this week. Here is why the former Virginia Tech
they say
head
to
coach
make and miss
is
game.
going with Kentucky.
Well, Kentucky has made shots, and Tennessee has missed them. Think about these two games. This is wild numbers. Tennessee is 14 for 63 from the three-point line. On the other hand, Kentucky's 23 for 48. So if Tennessee can impose their identity and disrupt the rhythm and flow and run Kentucky off the three-point line, that's how they have to win this game. The big question for Tennessee is, can they shoot it consistently? When Lanier and Gainey and Zakai Ziegler are shooting it, they're a different team. Here, the best defenders for this Tennessee team are Lamont Butler, terrific defender, and Ortega Ole. Well, those are the two guys that could take out Zakai Ziegler and Chaz Lanier. So if you take out Ziegler and Lanier, Tennessee really struggles offensively. That's why I favor Kentucky in this game. Wow. Matchups make fights, and this is not a great matchup for Tennessee.
There is some truth to that of the February Vols. Mm-hmm. Seth Greenberg is not accounting for Jordan Gainey, who is playing a significantly larger role than he was the last time these two teams played.
Absolutely, man. And it's at times where Gainey is cooking and doing his thing and actually being productive to where he doesn't mention right there. Like, you got those two guys.
There's a third option now that was not there the last time these two teams played.
Absolutely. And Gainey's ability to drive and slash and move the ball out is also is huge, too, especially if he's getting hot, too. And then that's the other part, too, Igor's ability to also, one, crash the boards, but two, get offensive. There's answers for it. Yeah, your two versus those two can X each other out. But in all actuality, there's other parts of this team, too, that gets going. And that's where it gets problematic for Kentucky. I know we're not going to give our keys to the game just yet, but the side of, looking at this matchup, if the Vols are chasing threes, that's when it becomes problematic. Not the fact that they're missing them, but the fact that they're chasing them. Defensively, for the Vols, getting around those screens and not getting lost defensively is where I think Kentucky has won the game the last two times, where defensively, which is their strong suit, they've gotten lost. The offense side of it is because you were getting lost to me and chasing.
Yeah, and he had
chasing points is what I mean.
Exactly, and he had mentioned just making shots too, right? Just in terms of Kentucky in those previous matchups were able to do more of that. This is a new season, like I always say, and like Ron Slay has always preached before the tournament, guard play matters in the tournament. And I think you are seeing better guard play too right now out of the guys that you need to, and Chaz Lanier and Zakai Ziegler. I think that they know when it's time, and you get these other parts that you guys have just mentioned with that guard play. I think that as long as Tennessee can come in and kind of set what they want to do and make those shots, you're going to be in this game, and it's going to probably come down to the end in this one. But like everybody says, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row. And I just feel like Kentucky, this is going to be a real tough task for them to do that.
I feel like the other part real quick, too, is the fact that the Vols have moved inside the three-point shot, too. Mm-hmm. They've gone to the mid-range. They've gone to the rim numerous times. Also, the pull-up game from Chaz, when he's missing, I don't feel like he did that the other times against Kentucky. He continued to let it fly from the three-point line.
Two things I think offensively that need to change for the first two matchups from Tennessee. First of all, when you make 50% of your threes, there are not as many long rebounds where the opposition can run in transition. When you shoot a lot of threes, you have a lot of long misses. Mm-hmm. So if you shoot Kentucky 33s and you make 10 of them versus 15 of them, that's 5 more opportunities where the ball can rebound, 8 feet from the basket. You get it, rip it, and run, and then you're 2-on-1 or 3-on-2 going the other way. So that in and of itself for a team that shoots a lot of threes is a challenge defensively for you. It's same case for Alabama. As quickly as they play, as many threes as they miss with long rebounds, it allows the other team to run. I think the other part of it is as good as Kentucky is at defending the three, Ken Pom has them 24th best in college basketball, allowing just 30.6% from three. Kentucky has one of the worst 2-point defenses in all of college basketball. 54% of 2-point attempts go in against Kentucky. That is 287th in all of college basketball. So you look at why Alabama has been a matchup problem for Kentucky. They have guards that can slash and take you off the dribble and get to the rim and finish. They make tough twos. Tennessee's got to make a lot of tough twos in this game, whether that's Chaz Lanier or Jordan Gainey coming off that floppy action, that screen, that pin down on the baseline where they're coming off curling and hitting a 15-footer, or you say punch and you can toss that down to the big coming off that screen or just screen for you, Tennessee has to make tough twos in this game. I think people will make this matchup about the three-point shooting, and rightfully so, considering the discrepancies in the first two games between these two. But I think it's about twos. It's about Amari Williams against Felix Okpara on the Kentucky side. Can he take Felix Okpara off the dribble and facilitate for that offense the way he typically does? And can Tennessee's guards finish at the rim, whether that's getting fouled or Zakai Ziegler? I think it is a huge Zakai Ziegler slashing game. Mark Sears kills Kentucky. Like, guards that can slash and get to the hoop kill Kentucky. And I think Tennessee is better in that department than they were the last two times that these two teams played.
I mean, just in general.
That's what gives me hope.
Kentucky they weren't flawless, but they were real good in Rupp Arena. Like, they were, man. And that's the separator right there. For me, it's attacking. If they can get to the rim on them also and get to the stripe, I think that's going to play a bigger part in this game, too. And the starts. No, it's the second run that the Vols have to go on before the half. That's where they have to be really good to me to show that they carry that over.
Sure.
And also not just that, but like the adjustment to the three ball that Kentucky's going to light it up. Yeah. I have no doubt they're going to try to light it up again.
You're never out of it in a Kentucky game. No lead is ever safe either way. If you're up by 10, they can make three threes in 1 minute. If they're up by 10, they play such bad defense at times that you can get right back in it. But,
that's why I think it'll come down the freaking wire today.
Probably.
Sorry, Friday.
Friday. And Igor,
tomorrow.
The flipping of his game.
He's played well against them a couple times, but he's got to be the best version of himself, for sure.
I'd much rather see him with a bunch of field goals instead of three-pointers.
Coming up, Adam Schefter on NFL Live talking about the Titans and the number one overall pick once again. We'll bring you the latest next. It is 8:01 for the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Good morning. I'm Will Bowling. The Titans have added a veteran quarterback. Tim Boyle was officially signed by the team yesterday. The 30-year-old split last season between the Texans, Dolphins, and Giants. He appeared in 3 total games, completing 27 of 50 passes for 276 yards with a touchdown and an interception. Since entering the league as an undrafted free agent in 2018, Boyle has appeared in 23 total games with 5 starts for 6 different teams. Wide receiver James Prochet is also joining the Titans. Prochet played in 19 games and made 1 start for the Browns over the last 2 seasons. He had 3 catches for 21 yards and returned 49 punts during his time in Cleveland. Tonight, the Sweet 16 begins as BYU takes on Alabama at 6:09 of the East region. The winner gets the Arizona-Duke winner. That one tips at 8:39. Into the West region, top seed Florida takes on Maryland a little after 6:30. The winner gets the Texas Tech-Arkansas winner. That's the nightcap tonight at 9:09 Central. You'll be able to hear full Westwood One coverage of the NCAA tournament tonight beginning at 6 p.m. on 104.5 The Zone. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you can need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. RKW brewed by Scooters Coffee rolls into the second half of your Thursday morning. 615-737-1045, the number. Make sure you download the Scooters Coffee mobile app today to order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. You just heard the details. Tim Boyle is the newest Tennessee Titans quarterback. You've got 3 of them here in Nashville. Will Levis, Brandon Allen, Tim Boyle, maybe Cam Ward soon. This was ESPN's Adam Schefter on NFL Live yesterday, speaking about what the Titans are still doing with the number 1 pick.
I've also heard the Titans general manager Mike Borgonzi say that he's open to anything. And so he's going to be listening to phone calls. It doesn't mean that the Giants will be able to make it up to 1. But I expect the Cleveland Browns and the New York Giants both to make calls, and let's see if there's a team that can come up with an offer that the Titans can't pass up. Yes, the Titans absolutely do like Cam Ward. Yes, they're ready to take him. But these teams have 1 month to try to change Tennessee's mind and make an offer compelling enough to move Tennessee, which has a ton of holes on its roster, off the number 1 pick.
That's Adam Schefter with Louis Riddick in the congregation as well, that you hear a little bit there as well.
In the congregation.
Teams trying to change the Titans' mind. I don't think they're going to succeed.
No. I think that if a team were to have really wanted to change their mind at this point, they would have done it. But we've seen so many of those teams that were really in the mix for trading up kind of figure things out for the most part with their quarterbacks right now. Now, Cleveland is still a question mark, but they're being tied to Abdul Carter now. I don't see them going up just 1 spot to the number 1 spot to get it. And then you have to ask yourselves, the Titans have also done moves to show you that they don't really have a confident starter this year yet, which makes us believe here, closer to home, that it's probably going to be Cam Ward, but they're going to play the game. Just like, Coach Mack said, what is the benefit of showing your cards right now? Facts. You might as well do business down to the wire if you're the Titans.
I just took one thing out of what Schefter said for the most part, and it was towards the end. He was like, well, move the Titans off that draft pick considering they have so many holes in their roster. That's the only reason that this is an appealing conversation more than anything is other teams know you have needs, and they're not sure if your biggest need is the quarterback, which it is for the Titans. It's just obvious that when you pick number 1 overall, the best thing to be is getting a quarterback, right? Or getting a generational edge rusher or something like that, or your left tackle for the future. Those, to me, are the positions that justify taking the number 1 overall pick. Cam Ward being the quarterback and you are very needy at that spot, it's obvious. I mean, for me, it is at this point, considering all the other moves being made around the NFL.
I doubt they are listening to offers as much as publicly they want us to think that they're listening to offers. To me, it sounds pretty open and shut at this point.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, I ain't even going to backtrack on that one. This is a done deal for the most part, unless, like you said, what's an offer? What if you're the Giants and Titans negotiating, or Cleveland? It's silly for them to give up anything, in my personal opinion. Picking number 2, it's silly for Cleveland.
Move up one spot, yeah.
Right, it's silly for them.
To me, if I'm Mike Berganzi, if your phone call doesn't start with 3 firsts at this point, then don't even pick up the phone.
That's what it is to me. And I said that a month ago, and it was like, yeah, right. Like, that's not going to happen.
To that point, though, the value of going from 3 to 1.
Right, it's not worth it.
It's not enough.
Going from 9 to 1, now that's a different conversation. If it was the Saints or if it was another team entering this market, because you gotta pay me so I have to now move back that far. But no, I don't think there's any scenario where the Giants are giving up 3 first-round picks to go up 2 spots.
I think the biggest hiccup is Cleveland being messy in a sense of them trading back before the Titans do. Like, that's where it becomes problematic. There's rumors. I'm not sure how true they are, but the rumors circulating on social media is Cleveland's in a position to try to get Dak Prescott. Like, do they really want to be in a position
there is no truth to that.
Another Texas quarterback again? But just it's playing the game. Like, are you guys really that desperate to give up capital to go get Dak? Like, and again, it goes down to the preservation of Myles Garrett's career at this point, in my opinion. Like, when you look at him, what are you doing to satisfy him? Well, $40 million is what you did with him.
Yeah. I mean, nobody credible is saying Dak Prescott's going to the Browns.
Yeah. I mean,
that's just some random person on social media saying something.
If all of this doesn't make sense, okay, if all of this doesn't make sense, and I'm not reporting who said it, I'm just understanding of what it is. Like, only team I can see screwing this up for the Titans is Cleveland. Just being complete, because they have the quarterback. They do, whether they like him or not.
I don't think they do.
Deshaun is there. Kenny Pickett's there.
Deshaun doesn't have a full Achilles again.
To play devil's advocate, we're saying the same thing about Tim Boyle, Brendan Allen, and Will Levis being here, though. I mean, Levis is there. He's the guy. I mean, not Levis, but Kenny Pickett is there and played in NFL games.
Yeah, right now he is their starting quarterback.
What's their other option is my question.
Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
I think the Shedeur Sanders slide is what makes this all really interesting, because they're probably having the same discussion up there we've been having here.
Yeah.
Just because you need a quarterback doesn't always mean you go draft the quarterback if you don't believe in the quarterback. And he's the one available for you to draft if you're Cleveland, but the way his stock is, I don't know if he's worthy of the number 2 overall pick even.
And you just haven't heard him tied there a lot either. Like, I've heard more of like the Giants love for him than I have necessarily the Browns.
I've heard both of them a lot.
So.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, like, Cleveland is the only team that can throw a glitch in everything that you got going on.
Leave it to Cleveland.
Yeah, that's how it goes. But I'm of the mindset the Titans have to take Cam at this point.
Yeah, it just wouldn't make sense not to.
And because if this, let's say they got the 3 quarterbacks on the roster and they pass on Cam and go in a different direction, they go Travis at number 1. Do you really believe in the competitive spirit of Brendan Allen, Tim Boyle, and Will Levis?
At that point, I would think Will Levis is probably going to be your guy, right?
And we've had a show early this year that said you cannot waltz him out there. You can. I feel like if you listen to us, you'll end up with us.
Sure.
That's the old creed, right? That's the old saying. If you listen to the fans, you'll end up in the stands with the fans, right?
Absolutely.
What if they believe Levis can get better and they're not willing to take a risk on Cam Ward? That's the only thing you have to ask at this point. But to that point, this isn't A-level competition with these 3 guys that's in this room.
No. On the 1% chance that Will Levis is trotted out there, you better have another quarterback that you can trade for or swap somebody for. Like, you better be for Kirk Cousins. It better be for, I don't know. I mean, I'll be called a homer, but Hendon Hooker. Like, maybe Hendon Hooker isn't the starter, but you better have another option if on the 1% chance that you're not drafting Cam Ward.
And see, we're saying all this stuff, and it just sounds, I don't want to say stupid, but it sounds like we're trying so hard when the real obvious answer, and that's why we all said you got to draft Cam Ward. Yeah. You know, it's like, because it's so hard for us to try to come up with another option.
You do now
for the Titans at this point.
That's the best option you have going for yourself.
They've boxed themselves in to Cam really being the only logical choice. And if they'd signed one of these veteran quarterbacks, they could have addressed more needs. That's what I would have preferred them do. But we're so far down this road now that there are no more exit ramps. No. You got a couple more miles before you can get off this this train. And you better just stay on and strap on tight. Make sure your seatbelt's buckled. Because the exit ramp was way back there. There ain't no bathroom breaks anymore.
If you do take the exit ramp at 107 miles per hour, then you're crashing.
Jordan, you're a Georgia football player.
Crashing. Yeah, sorry, did I bring that up too soon?
No, you did not. They need to handle that. This is like for the folks that are going to Indy this weekend that'll be driving. There's an exit that says no restroom for the next 50 miles.
That's right.
Yeah.
When you drive to Memphis, there are spots on that drive to Memphis, as you know, Ramon, better than anybody.
Yeah.
Where they're all right, kids.
Yeah.
Go bathroom now if you need it, because there's not civilization for a minute here.
We're not stopping.
30, 40 minutes. We're just going to be vibing.
Yeah. We are not stopping.
That's where we are now.
That one. Does it? This is. I like the answer that you get with this one, but it's still super fascinating in knowing that this is your guy.
It is now. Like it or not. There you go. So, anyway, coming up next, Tennessee legend, the pride of the Bluegrass State, and Vol for life, Chris Lofton joins the show next. All right, sometimes in this job you get some very, very cool moments. And this is one where if you told me, I don't know, 10 years ago, we're about to have this next guest on the show, I would have freaked out. I'm kind of freaking out now. One of my favorite Tennessee athletes ever joining us this morning as we talk Tennessee and Kentucky. Your Bode Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, joined by the pride of Maysville, Kentucky. He is Tennessee basketball legend Chris Lofton on the show with us this morning. Chris, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm excited to be on the show, man. I've listened to it a few times, and it's great, and I'm just excited to be here, man. Rocky Top for life. Let's do it.
Let's go,
I love it. Chris, I just want to say, I tried to shoot a lot of fadeaway three-pointers growing up as a kid. It's one of the reasons why I was really bad at basketball, but I wore number 5. I wanted to be Chris Lofton growing up, so this is a cool moment for sure.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. So, hey, what was it like being in Rupp Arena, watching this team play over the weekend, and watching Chaz Lanier just up close and personal? What do you like about this Tennessee team right now?
Man, it was so fun to be in Rupp, and I'll be honest with you, I was a little nervous because when I go to watch my Vols Rupp, I don't have a good record right now, so I was kind of nervous. I was thinking, should I just watch it on TV, but I went and we won both games, so I think I'm about even now, so I was excited, and, to watch Chaz and the Vols, man, I'm just so excited. It's so much fun watching them play, the way they play so hard and represent that T so great, and it's just special right now watching Tennessee basketball.
What has the conversation been like in the state this week, Chris? Because I don't think there's ever been a bigger game in the history of this rivalry between Tennessee and Kentucky than this one coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, man. I mean, all my friends is talking trash, and it's just, it's hard for me because I really can't say anything because we're 0-2. It's hard. Like I can't, but I'm just like, third time's a charm. I'm still repping Tennessee, of course, and saying we're gonna beat y'all. Like I can't beat us 3 times in a row.
No doubt. Chris Lofton with us this morning, man. The SEC legend, man. Your numbers up in the rafters. CeeLo, I'm just like you, man. The only basketball game I've gone to and seen them win, heck, even the Lady Vols is involved in it, was the Florida game this past year in Knoxville. I'm 1-2, dog. Like I'm gonna be at home, CeeLo, because I ain't superstitious. I'm just a little stitious, okay? So you know. Right. CeeLo, with that being said, though, man, we've seen something, man, that's been super dynamic from Kentucky more than anything, and I think that's where a lot of we like to call BVS, battered ball syndrome, come into play, man. But their ability to shoot the 3 ball, what have you seen from them that has made that one of the strong suits as it pertains to Kentucky versus Tennessee, specifically that game?
It's just, man, it's like they always hit all the threes against us.
Yeah.
Like they don't miss. I mean, you got guys that don't average much, hit 3 or 4 threes, and, Pope runs that spread offense with so much space. And, I mean, they got 5 guys that can knock down shots, so it's always hard to guard.
CeeLo, how was it, though, in this rivalry, man, for you to be in a spot where I know you want to go Kentucky, I heard the story, man, but to actually grow up there, be a bluegrass state kid, man, and go to the biggest rival in the sense of basketball and specifically football, too. What does it mean for you and your family as far as being a family divided and watching this game?
Yeah, well, it's always fun, because a lot of my family was Louisville fans, but then, the other half were Kentucky, so it's always been that rival, Louisville, Kentucky is me growing up. And, now, with me, Tennessee, I bleed orange. It's basically the same. We hate each other, which is normal. It's, but it's all fun and games, though. At the end of the day, man, it's, I'm hopefully to see a good basketball game, which I think we will. And I'm just excited for it.
Chris Lofton, a Tennessee legend, joining us this morning on RKW. What was that moment like when you saw Chaz Lanier break that 3-point record?
I didn't even know. I knew he was close, but I didn't even know. Like, people were like, "You look so mad on TV." I'm like, I didn't know the camera was on my face. I'm looking down at my phone. It's probably a timeout or something. I didn't know the camera was on my face, but Chaz has played well all season. A great shooter, and it's been special. These last few years we've had Dog, we've had Chaz, so I mean it's been special these last few years with the transfers. So hopefully we can just keep this just keep this going and find another one for next year too,
Yeah. And speaking of that, it is different from when you played in terms of the transfer portal and NIL. I guess, what do you like about the game right now, Chris? And what's maybe a thing that you miss in terms of what it used to be?
What I like about it is like these kids is getting paid now. I wish I was a part of it.
Preach.
I wish I had an NIL deal back then, But the thing that gets me sometimes, and I know everybody has a different situation. I don't like how kids just get, just to leave somewhere so easily. Sometimes I'm like, that adversity is what makes you. That adversity, stick it out, see what it's like, and go through that tough time and grind and work your way out. And I think back to my freshman year, as we were 14 and 17. It was a bad year for me. I wasn't used to losing. Coming from my high school team in Kentucky, I won, state championship came in second place one year, and I didn't lose much. So that freshman year was really tough because we lost a lot, and the first part of me was I wanted to transfer. I wanted to get out and go somewhere else, but I'm so glad that we didn't have that transfer portal because it made me look myself in the mirror, work hard and say, what are you going to do about it? So I remember just, trying to outwork everybody and I was like, I'm going to stay, and it worked out perfect for me.
Chris Lofton, our guest this morning on Ramon, Kalen Will. All right, Chris, of the big shots that you hit in your time at Tennessee, obviously going over Durant, the fadeaway against Winthrop in the NCAA tournament, a big one as well. Do you have a favorite shot that you hit at Tennessee? I'm putting you on the spot a little bit. What was your favorite moment that you had as a Vol, if there's one that sticks out?
Are you saying favorite shot or favorite moment?
Either one. Is there whichever one's easier for you to bring to mind?
Okay, so my favorite moment was probably when we played Memphis in Memphis, number 1 versus number 2. So that was one of my favorite moments. Just, like I just talked about, my freshman year, we were 14-17, we were bad, and then to be number 1 versus number 2 in that game on ESPN, everybody watching, that was just a special moment. So that was my favorite moment. Favorite shot, most people want to say Durant, but that's really not my favorite shot.
Okay.
Probably would be the NCAA tournament. Just, what you dream of as a kid, just playing in March Madness, NCAA tournament, game on the line, and you make a game-winning shot. So I'm going to say that one.
I'm curious then, Chris, why isn't the Texas one your favorite shot? And how much have you and Rick Barnes relived that moment, or does he just not really want to talk about it?
Yeah, we really don't. We really don't talk about it, honestly. But I love the Texas shot because we won the game was the most important.
Sure.
And because of who KD is and what he is now, it makes it special. But I'm gonna go with the March Madness shot. It's
I love it.
Special to me.
No doubt about it. With that being said, though, too, man, you look at the coaches that the Vols have had, Bruce Pearl doing what he's doing right now at Auburn, Chris, and also just looking at what Barnes has also done. Like Tennessee, I don't want to say lucked up, but you find good coaches and good thing that keeps your program sustainable, man. With that being said, how was it with Bruce, man? Because our fan base still loves Bruce. Bruce still has that infectious personality that you want to be a part of. You gravitate to it as a player. Like you see it different than we do. We see the fun Bruce. How was Bruce as a coach to where it might not have been some nice practices that you guys had to go through?
Yeah. Bruce he was a great coach. I learned so much from him, and just, it always starts as say when you want the head of the snake. Is the most important, right? And he was that for us. The man watched film. Scouting reports was detailed. Everything was so detailed, and you just oh, this is why he's won everywhere he goes. We knew there were plays before they ran them, out of bounds plays. Bruce is so well prepared. It's one of those how did you know that? And the man just watches film after film after film, and it trickles down to his assistant coaches. So I can only imagine the assistant coach, how much they learned from him, being with him all those years. And he's just he knew how to motivate. He knew, he knew when, to rest our legs. He knew what plays to run. He knew it all. And I think that's just simply because of his work ethic.
Chris Lofton, he truly is a volunteer for life, joining us this morning on RKW. Chris, speaking of coaches, just how much is the SEC ahead of other conferences right now when it comes to, their coaches. From top to bottom, we saw such a solid league this year and has a very good chance to take home a championship.
Absolutely. I'm always SEC basketball and football for sure. So, you can say I'm biased, but I think it's the best league in all sports. Like you said, like all the coaches in this league, it's, it was a dogfight every single night. We got 14 teams in the tournament for a reason, and because we were the best. And, I think it shows we got 7 teams in the Sweet 16 right now, and, I hope I'm thinking the SEC team is going to win it, so it just speaks for itself.
Chris Lofton, our guest this morning. Chris, I know your number one up in the rafters a few years ago. I was in the building when it went up there, but Zakai Ziegler is still wearing number 5 as well for as long as this Tennessee run continues. Just how cool has it been watching him carry on the legacy of number 5, and what have those conversations been like with him as the last guy to wear number 5 with you guys kind of sharing some of that legacy?
Yeah, man. I mean, if I want somebody to wear number 5, it would be Zakai. The heart and soul of the Tennessee team is him. Been there the last 4 years. Just the way he plays offensively and defensively, passion, energy. He brings it every single possession. That's what you want in a player. And he's our leader. And it's been a pleasure watching him these last 4 years.
Chris, I know you were able to kind of be around the team a little bit when you're number 1 up there and just spending time around Rick Barnes. But what stands out about the way he runs that program? And, why do you think Tennessee has had so much success under his leadership?
Just, man, he's one of those, similar to Bruce, and they work hard. They demand so much out of you. Rick is not going to let you slack. That's what I love about his practices. If you go to a practice, one of the hardest practices you'll ever see, he does not play any games. He holds everybody accountable from the number 1 guy to the 15th guy. Nobody gets to slack, and it just has an effect on everybody. Because they know you better go hard, or he's going to be on you. It don't matter who you are.
CeeLo, man, you somewhat laid out a good bit of your trials and tribulations, man, and your Volunteer for Life special, man, that came on SEC Network. Dog, how's been the feedback from that, man, and how was it actually watching it in hindsight, having gone through all of that with the cancer and, just you're a young adult at that point, and now in your 30s, how has it seemed from you and the feedback from it?
Man, it was great. Going through it was tough and rough, but now as I'm older, I look back and just real blessed and thankful. And, people that watch the documentary, people, come up to me all the time and be like, man, thank you for that. I'm fighting cancer right now, and that helped me. That inspired me a lot. And, those were the best messages you can get, honestly. When you're helping other people, serving, giving, that's what it's all about. How can you make a difference in somebody else's life? And, when people send me a message or come up and tell me how that, documentary affected them and how much it meant to them to help them going through their, cancer treatments, radiation, chemotherapy, man, that's probably better than me making a 3 in Thompson Bowl interview,
No doubt, man. And real quick, too, one of the reasons, it got spotted was, and if anybody ever known CeeLo or see you on campus, one, you probably laughing or smiling or joking about something, okay? But even in parties, CeeLo was in the corner somewhere laughing with a group of people, just a clown, all of us were in that era, man.
Absolutely.
But the failed drug test side of stuff, how did that really just blow your mind? Knowing you, that was far from anything that you'd ever do at that point. To hear that come out of the drug tester's mouth had to be a real eye-opener for you.
Oh, absolutely. At that time, and this is after my junior year, so I'm coming off SEC Player of the Year, my best season yet. I got my sights, man. Am I NBA ready? I got, my dreams is right there. So it's just when you hear cancer, you're like, what? There's no possible way. I'm in college playing basketball at the highest level. There's no way. Cancer's for old people.
Yeah.
That was my thought. What cancer? And then it was just one of those gut-wrenching situations. And man, it was tough. I struggled for a little bit, but I thank God that He was right there with me along the way. And now I look back and realize, like, the honest thing, I wouldn't change it again. I would go through it again because, like I said, like the messages I get, people stopping me. Miss Man, I'm going through cancer. They'll tell me the cancer situation they're going through or their parents, and you help them a lot. So that's the best reward for me right now.
Chris Lofton has been our guest this morning here on 104.5 The Zone. Chris, man, the way you use your platform both on the court and off the court, your faith, your story, it's an inspiration to so many people in the state, as you know. Thank you for spending some time with us this morning, and we hope for your sake and a lot of your buddies up in Kentucky that the Vols get it done for you tomorrow.
Hey, man, I need this, man. I won't be able to show my face for it. I need this. I love it. I got extra room in Nashville. I'm about to come stay with you.
Come on down.
We got a spot for you.
I love it.
Ron Slay asks, have you officially retired yet? Will you ever retire?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll play a little pickup every now and then, but I'm definitely retired. I know my limits, man. I play with the OGs now,
I love it.
Cardio. I need that cardio.
Catch you at the Y.
I love it. Chris Lofton, our guest.
Yeah, wow, man. Wow, church league.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Chris, thank you so much for the time, man. Really appreciate it. Yes, sir. Chris Lofton with us here this morning talking Tennessee hoops.
Man, what a gem, man. I've never spoke to him, obviously. This is my first time, and just the pure joy in his voice, like it makes you smile. Like that's like a true person who's a good person. Just like, what can you say bad about that man?
I can't wait to ask Hubs tomorrow because Savage went on his rant last week about that era. Will and I spoke a little bit yesterday. Was it yesterday?
Well, so we were leaving just after the show at one point, just walking down, and I was like, man, like you guys had a golden era of athletes. And Ramon's like, oh, it's not like it is now. And I said, no, give yourself a little bit of credit. Like, at the same time, you had Chris Lofton. You had an SEC East winning football team while you were there specifically. Yeah. You had Monica Abbott playing softball, who's now no longer has the fastest softball pitch ever, but it was second most at that point. Yeah. And you had women's basketball and Candace Parker. Yeah. Like, you guys had a who's who of athletes and teams at that point. And like Tennessee didn't just start being an everything school. Like Tennessee's been a powerhouse athletic department. We just had to wander through the wilderness in 40 days of 40 nights and the manna wasn't falling from heaven. But now it is abundant and lush for all of us in this state, and it feels like the way it's supposed to be again, for sure.
It is. Like, I'm looking at his roster. Like, they had parade All-Americans, like Duke Cruz, J.P. Prince was
Jawan
there.
Smith.
Tyler Smith was
a
there.
young Dane Bradshaw.
But, like, even across other teams, you mentioned Monica in softball, but then you also got to bring up Julio and JPRC.
Aaron Sevia.
Yes, those
Luke
two guys went into the to MLB draft. Then you had Inky on campus. You had Eric Berry on campus. You had Gerard Mayo on campus. Jason Allen. Like, it's been there. Now, bigger media.
I'll give you credit because you won't do it yourself.
Bigger media has made the names more popular. Social media has also. And, of course, winning helps, too. Winning helps. Like, I know coaches get, like, a bunch of flack for, you care about it. Like, the way Saban went about it or the way Kirby's trying to do it. But, like, those legends grow in those moments. The reason we still speak about Al Wilson, Enoch, like, think Leonard Little is because they won. You know,
and Slay's era had a Mount Rushmore too, with those football guys, with him, with all those basketball players we've talked about so many times, like Vincent Yarborough, dog, Rod Slay, dog. Like, there were so many. We could go down the list in every sport. I mean, Justin Gatlin was there at that point, fastest man in the world. Like, it's pretty crazy the run they had when you were there.
You're right. Who's the hurdler that won gold?
Aries Merritt.
Aries Merritt was on campus.
World record holder.
He was on campus at that time. And if I'm not mistaken, one of the sprinters in the 4x1 for the Olympics got gold too was a Lady Vol. Like, there's been
Dee Dee Trotter, Phoebe Wright. We can go down the list on the track runners if we really want.
And I know every university probably has this same conversation. I know that's the case, but like, that's the reason we're so loud and brash right now.
Aries Merritt's still the world record holder.
Aries Merritt still is.
The 110 hurdles. Yeah.
Aries, by the way, track run hurdler Kayla didn't walk around campus with long braids in his hair. Like, didn't say a very unassuming.
He's so good, man.
But just
what Olympics was it? 12, 12. Kayla. Out of nowhere, here he is winning the gold. We're like, wait,
he's on campus.
He was on campus.
Yeah.
Like, it was
like Bianca Belair too. The WWE wrestler was a Lady Vol hurdler.
Bianca's
too.
I Yeah,
so
she's had quite a journey.
We don't want to do this Vol thing like that, but
a lot of people out there listening are feeling the same way.
Had a guy on here who, like I said, is the epitome of VFL.
Yeah.
And just to hear again his humbleness too, he's just such a humble person. I feel like.
Yep.
Zelo was a dude.
Joshua on Twitter writes in, says, "Can you imagine showing up to a church league game and the other team has Chris Lofton?"
No. Sorry. Throw it in.
Look, we not winning today.
From downtown. Bang.
Exactly.
Just over and over.
We not winning today.
Not happening.
Yes, that's dope.
I love it.
Yeah.
Appreciate you helping connect the dots there. I'm
awesome.
personally still kind of shook that we just talked to Chris Lofton. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's very
Legit.
nice.
I hope he gets that win for his Vols, like you said, so he doesn't get crap.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that he had been at those.
Oh yeah.
That's funny.
We talked about too before. Sometimes road players get applause from Rupp Arena.
Mm-hmm.
My brother was telling me about that. He's like, I would go cover those games for local TV, and it's starting at point guard, Rabar Smith, boom, boom. Starting at shooting guard from Maysville, Kentucky, Chris Lofton.
Yeah.
And it would be applause for him.
Funny.
And Slay mentioned that too. I got applause there too. SEC Players of the Year. Rupp Arena fans know ball. I'll give you all that.
They do. You got to give
fans
them
that go to Lexington to the games. 615-737-1045. Let's run through another mock draft, shall we? Matt Miller of ESPN has his new one. You'll be interested to see where Shedeur Sanders lands next. RKW is brewed by Scooter's Coffee, wrapping up hour 3. An omission on our part. Not only did we have Chris Lofton on this morning, we had him on his birthday, which we just learned after the fact.
Happy birthday, Chris Lofton.
Happy birthday to Chris Lofton. That's awesome. I'm grateful he decided to join us to start off his birthday.
That's really
awesome.
Cool.
Mock draft from Matt Miller has Cam Ward going number 1. Shocker. To the Tennessee Titans. If the draft really does start at 2, guys, if you were Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski, and the Cleveland Browns, who would you take if Cam Ward's gone at 1?
I almost feel like we're seeing Abdul Carter have a little bit of an injury bug, just stay with him type of career. I'm going Travis. I'm going Travis and figuring out a way. Yeah, to Cleveland.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going Travis.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, I think Travis Hunter has also lost fuel, which I don't think he should. I think he's going to be really special in the league. I don't think you can go wrong with that pick. And I also think, guys, I think Shedeur Sanders is going to be good. And I know that it might be tough maybe for some people to think he can be a starter and not, sit right away. But they have some weapons up there. And that's not a bad team in terms of what you can surround him with. I'm almost like, just take Shedeur.
Take Shedeur.
I would take Shedeur Sanders if I was the Browns. I would. I think they're more ready for a quarterback there than we are here, first of all. But I do think they have more elite playmakers where they don't have as big of a need to come out of this draft with a stud. Okay. I think they are more in a position to take a risk with a proven head coach in Kevin Stefanski, with a proven number 1 target in Jerry Jeudy. The offensive line is meh. Their number 2 receiver right now is Cedric Tillman on paper. Shout out, which I still think that he has a higher ceiling than what we have seen so far. We'll see what they do with Nick Chubb. Doubt that he's back, to be honest with you. Right now, Jerome Ford is their starting running back on paper. Interesting, the trade down discussion around them, because if somebody loves Shedeur Sanders enough to go up to 2, or even the Giants want to take other bidders out of it, I would do that if I was Cleveland. But if I'm sticking and picking, I'm taking Shedeur if I'm them. Matt Miller has them taking Abdul Carter. And says, Adam Schefter said Wednesday at NFL Live that he believed the Browns would select Abdul Carter if Cam Ward is off the board. That is different than what Schefter was saying before, that he was confident they'd take a quarterback no matter what. That appears to not be the case anymore. So that has Shedeur Sanders falling to 3 to the New York Giants. And what a quarterback room that would be. Of Shedeur Sanders, Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Tommy DeVito.
Oh, my gosh.
Somebody's getting cut out of that
so
4.
Wild.
Yeah,
somebody is getting released and sent somewhere else. That's paying a lot of money to Jameis and Russ to not play.
That's why I don't think it's happening.
Yeah, to not play. That's an expensive backup.
But if Shedeur gets it to 3, I think the Giants
they're taking him.
I really do.
And they won't be pressed to actually play him either, because of Russ is going to play. He's throwing footballs at Knicks games right now. So
I know, signing him and throwing him
signing him and throwing him.
So in this scenario, Travis Hunter gets all the way down to 4 to the Patriots.
Gosh.
Which would be a really interesting fit at corner and at wide receiver for Mike Vrabel. Mason Graham falls to 5 to the Jags. Steve Palazzolo, very high on Mason Graham. The 33rd team has been on the show quite a few times. Tet McMillan goes 6 to the Raiders in Matt Miller's new mock draft. Armand Membu, Missouri, first tackle off the board at 7 to the Jets. So they would have Olu Fashanu on one side. They would have Armand Membu on the other side now that Morgan Moses is in New England. Jalen Walker goes 8 to the Panthers. Jedi Barron, the excellent corner out of Texas, goes 9 to the Saints. And then, this is interesting, Ashton Genty to the Bears.
Oh, my
at 10.
Goodness. Can you imagine?
If they had the offensive line they've rebuilt, Dahlman, Tooney, and Jackson on the inside, with their 2 young tackles on the outside, you had Rome Odunze and DJ Moore, and Ashton Genty, there is no excuse for Caleb Williams at that point.
No.
None.
I mean, that is a
and
killer
Ben Johnson's your head
paper.
coach.
Yeah, exactly.
Genty could be to that offense what Jahmyr Gibbs has been to Ben Johnson's Detroit offense.
That's essentially what they're trying. Well, he has to duplicate. And not only just that, he also took a good bit of their coaches from Detroit, too.
He did.
So his system what the Bears going to look like is what you saw from Detroit. Who do they have, Will, in that point? Although Genty can catch the football, who's a scat back that's like Jahmyr Gibbs? Because I feel like Ben Johnson absolutely used him a good good bit whenever it came down to getting somebody in space. I'm trying to find it,
I think
too.
Genty could do that, too, to be honest with you.
Thing.
When you look at the Bears and who they have, I mean, they already have DeAndre Swift.
There you go.
So DeAndre Swift and Ashton Genty would be your Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery.
I felt the same way about them last summer, though. So that's the thing.
Bears, I did too.
But Eberflus also was the head coach at the time, and Ben Johnson wasn't there.
Exactly.
And
the line is they've helped
a whole lot better. They have at least on paper they've taken the steps to surround him. We didn't also mention too. We mentioned the center, Drew Dalman. Also,
I mentioned him. Yeah.
You did mention him too from the Falcons. Yeah, he signed there too. So they've solidified themselves in a lot of ways.
Center guard triangle.
Yes, they have. On top of having what's his name at right tackle too.
Darnell Wright.
Yeah, Darnell Wright.
Yeah.
Ball.
This is a 2-round mock draft. Actually, a 7-round mock draft. Excuse me, for Matt Miller. Going deep into it. At pick 35 for the Titans. I don't understand this one.
Okay.
Tyler Booker, guard, Alabama.
Oh.
I do. I get it. 1 year. 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah, that's your Zeitler replacement in 2026.
Also, can Booker play center?
Maybe. That is your, again, like the idea that you draft for need. You're drafting for the next 5 Tennessee Titans teams, not the next one.
Yeah.
So pick 35, if you box yourself into, we have to take a receiver, we have to take an edge rusher, well, that you might get a bad player.
Yeah.
So if Tyler Booker is number 1 on your board there, then if you're really in a rebuild, then you always take the best available player regardless of what position they play.
Right. It might not always make sense to us right away just because we look at that wide receiver room and we're like, wait a second.
Real quick, and y'all can find me on them, but I checked my Instagram one day and he randomly followed me.
Oh, really?
Booker did. I'm trying to connect the dots. I was just like, where did this come from? But either way, I do like him as a prospect. It's definitely a guard, though, for sure.
I'm surprised Kayla has not already tweeted out that Kyle Williams goes to the Titans in this scenario as well, the wide receiver from Washington.
Not that early. I think he'll be more of a
4th round.
Fourth round.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Matt Miller has Kyle Williams to the Titans in the 4th round and Danny Stutzman in the 5th.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is Kyle Williams could be a slot guy. I mean, he's a speedy guy. I think that he has seen his draft stock rise. And he's got that connection with Cam Ward. I know that doesn't mean anything when it's all said and done, but I think that he's a value pick.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. His ability to get open. That's what the Titans also need, too. If they're not going to have somebody that's that big of a playmaker for him, like Calvin's long down the field.
Exactly.
Coming up, headlines to begin hour 4. What you missed if you've been sleeping in this morning. It's opening day in baseball, if that means anything to anyone anymore. So everyone playing for second behind the Dodgers. We'll start that today as well as we hit the headlines to begin hour 4 next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Is your water heater not heating? Maybe your sink is leaking, the drain is clogged. Well, hey, available 24/7, 365. Our expert friends at Lee Company, they have you covered for all of your plumbing needs as well. You hand Lee Company the to-do list, they take care of it for you. It's just as simple as that. And right now, you can enjoy $30 off your next plumbing visit. Just contact Lee Company today at 615-567-1000. Or go online to leecompany.com for an appointment to take care of your home's plumbing from top to bottom. Again, that's $30 off your next plumbing visit at leecompany.com. You've probably seen a Lee Company fleet driving around Middle Tennessee. They've got over 1,000 vehicles in that fleet. Their vans and their trucks, they are everywhere in the area. That means when you call them, they'll get out there. They'll help you quickly. It's efficient, it's fast, and it is affordable as well. So get $30 off your next plumbing visit by calling Lee Company at 615-567-1000. Online at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company. All you need. 9:02 for the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Good morning. I'm Will Bowling. Tonight, the Sweet 16 begins. BYU takes on Alabama at 6:09. That's the East region. The winner gets the Arizona-Duke winner. That one tips at 8:39. In the West, top seed Florida takes on Maryland a little after 6:30. The winner gets the Texas Tech-Arkansas winner. The nightcap at 9:09. You can hear full Westwood One coverage of the NCAA tournament right after 3HL, right here in the Zone tonight at 6 p.m. The Titans yesterday added another veteran quarterback as the team officially signs Tim Boyle. The 30-year-old split last season with the Texans, Dolphins, and Giants, appearing in 3 total games and completing 27 of 50 passes. He had 276 yards with a touchdown and an INT. Wide receiver James Prochet was also officially signed by the Titans yesterday. Prochet played in 19 games and made 1 start for the Browns over the last 2 seasons. He had 3 catches for 21 yards and returned 49 punts during his time in Cleveland. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. RKW is brewed by Scooter's Coffee on Friday Junior here on this show. That's what we call Thursday. Head by Scooter's Coffee. Celebrate your Friday Junior with locations at White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. You can also download the Scooter's Coffee mobile app today to order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. Tim Boyle is the Tennessee Titan. In addition to Will Levis and Brandon Allen, Wes Wisely on Twitter yesterday at Titans Stats. Titans' current quarterback room has a combined record of 7-29 as NFL starters.
Woo!
Let's go.
Winners.
Let's go, baby. Levis included in that, huh? Oh, yeah, I say that like he didn't contribute this year.
Will Levis, Brandon Allen, and Tim Boyle, a combined record of 7-29.
Name your quarterback.
I heard Tim Boyle's stat line yesterday, 5 touchdowns, 13 interceptions also.
That's exactly right.
And at quarterback from Miami, number whatever, Cam Ward.
Got to be number 1, right?
No, Warren Moon.
Warren,
that's
retired.
I'm tripping. My bad, Mr. Moon. Sorry about that. Don't ever
We'll see what he goes with.
Yeah, no doubt.
A lot of pressure.
I'd be interested to see. It's been Cam's number.
1?
You know?
7 kind of looks like a 1. That's what a lot of people have made in their Photoshops.
I'm okay with 7.
Of him.
7's a good number.
4 works also.
4's a good number.
5. We'll keep throwing numbers out there.
How many numbers can we name
91.
for the rest of this show?
18.
615-737-1045. What's your favorite number?
Goodness.
We could do it all, man.
You could double up 1 and go 11.
Could go 11.
And there's guys that have done that.
Yeah,
for sure. I think AJ did that.
Yeah, we have a lot of AJ Brown jerseys that would just become Cam Ward jerseys.
Mason Rudolph.
Hey now.
Possibly your starter.
Titans legend, Mason Rudolph.
Possibly the still starting quarterback. You right about that.
Yeah, I heard 3HL yesterday was trying to go through the worst quarterback rooms in the NFL as of today. And it was between the Titans and the Steelers.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. No doubt.
It's got to be the Steelers.
I saw somebody say. I heard somebody say yesterday. Well, I saw on it's be 5 straight years of a new quarterback starter in Pittsburgh.
I mean, that is madness to think.
Was Ben Roethlisberger like the ultimate "you'll miss me when I'm gone" quarterback?
Yeah. But the fans didn't appreciate it though.
That's the thing is like there are certain players, and I'll put Ryan Tannehill in that category as well, that you don't love. You can't wait to get rid of them, and you consistently find ways to get rid of them, but you really miss them when they're not there anymore.
You do.
And Ben Roethlisberger is the ultimate example of that. He was just so solid for so many years.
Biggest mistake they made though was not finding his successor.
Right.
That
and so many teams screwed that up.
Yeah. They tried with Pickett, but
that wasn't a successor. He was gone by that point.
Yeah, but just in terms of down the line, I guess, just trying to find a guy in the draft.
I lied. They did. It was Mason. It was supposed to be Mason. Mason was one of those
late round.
To be real with you.
So they really thought
he had a first round grade on him in a sense, and they
like
took
Will Levis.
Him. Yeah, like Will Levis.
He was just picked a lot later than Will was.
Right.
And I'll be honest too, Ben buried him. Legit was like, oh, you're gonna go draft him when I ask you for a receiver? Watch this.
It's just the hard part about having to walk and chew gum at the same time as an NFL GM. Like, do I want a 3rd or 4th round pick that could turn into a legitimate wide receiver 2 for my aging quarterback? Or do I try to replace the aging quarterback and maybe make that process have to happen more quickly because he's going to have less to work with?
Think about how Aaron Rodgers acted.
Oh, yeah.
Like, think about how
when Jordan Love got drafted way before he was gone.
And it wasn't about Love, is what Aaron has said in hindsight. Like, no, he likes Jordan Love. Like, they have a good relationship, if I'm not mistaken, too. He's just, franchise, you're not going to replace me. He went out and got 2 more MVPs.
It's just as much, real quick, of a crapshoot drafting a quarterback high as it is thinking you're going to hit on a 4th rounder or 5th, you know.
Mm-hmm. And then there's Brock Purdy and Tom Brady.
Like, what if you had drafted a wide receiver for Ryan Tannehill instead of trying to replace Ryan Tannehill with Malik Willis? Like in the 3rd round in the 2022 NFL draft. The wide receivers taken in that round, Velus Jones Jr., that one didn't really pan out, unfortunately. Jalen Tolbert, that one didn't really pan out. David Bell, Danny Gray. Man, Danny Gray could walk up to me right down the street. I have no idea who he is. SMU receiver.
Okay.
Pony.
Got a
clue.
I mean, the best receiver that was taken after Malik in that draft was probably either Romeo Dobbs or, Calvin Austin's been good. Khalil Shakir. There you go.
Okay.
There it is.
Khalil Shakir. And the Titans still did take a receiver in that draft. It was just Kyle Phillips.
Which hummingbird just came back to haunt us all.
Got a ring now.
I know, with the Eagles.
Got a ring.
Does every organization give rings to practice squad guys?
Yeah, it just depends upon what size you get. Pittsburgh gave out small ones, but every other team I know got big rings.
That's cool.
Like, I know
legit,
Kansas City
man.
gave all their practice squad guys big rings.
And they give the staffers, right?
Yeah, and you get the bonuses and everything on top of it. Yeah, staff get big rings too.
Wide receivers in 2023, if you had chosen to do that instead of drafting Will Levis, you had the option of Jonathan Mingo, Jaden Reed, Rashee Rice, and Marvin Mims drafted in the same round.
Yep.
Tank Dell was drafted a round later in the 3rd round.
He fell because of size, right? Yeah, for the most part, as far as Tank Dell is concerned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tank Dell, because I remember being like, well, he could just be another Kyle Phillips. He's so small.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he turned into a good player with the right quarterback. Yeah.
He got hurt, but
that injury, man, I don't think he's going to play this year.
I don't either.
If he does, it's going to be a minute.
He was good for him.
He was. He was definitely a weapon for him.
Opening day in baseball today.
Let's go. We're all baseball fans, so maybe we're just celebrating.
Yeah,
I like baseball, of course.
I'm a big baseball person.
Yeah, I just told Kaylin there's a baseball game almost every day for the next 7 months.
Every weekend there is baseball every weekend until October.
The problem is, Will and Ramon, good luck on trying to find it because all these regionals are now extinct in a lot of places. Not in every market.
It is okay. Well,
I think Bally is still here, but
it's easier now though because you can just buy it separately. So there's a non-blackout subscription now for FanDuel Sports Network, where you can buy every Braves game without blackout restrictions. Not even if you have it. Like there's a separate subscription you can buy. Most teams are doing that now. Yeah, it's honestly easier to watch baseball this year than it has been in a long time. And if you're out of market, you can just get MLB TV, which. I think I forgot to cancel that. I always get that, and then I never use it as much as I think I'm going to. If anyone wants my MLB TV password, slide my DMs.
I'll take it.
Ramon has just entered my DMs. No, don't slide. I'm terrible at checking my DMs, so don't do that. But I actually I'll give them credit on that because I'm very critical of baseball for not putting baseball in front of enough people.
Right.
It's a lot easier this year. Yeah. It's just expensive.
If we have soccer minutes, we got to have a MLB one too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What your Braves got going on?
Jurickson Profar is a great addition at left field for Atlanta. Had a great season last year in San Diego, so I like that addition. Spencer Strider coming back in spring training. He has looked unbelievably good. He looks like himself. A little bit of a different windup, a little bit more compact from what I've seen. Again, I'm not as smart as many others at breaking down these things, but I think he's going to be back mid-April. Just what version of Ronald Acuna do the Braves get?
That's the biggest
Because the last time he came off the ACL, it took him a full extra year to really feel confident. He has said, which he now speaks English in interviews, which
good for him.
Shout out to him for doing all that work outside of baseball to learn English well enough to talk about it. That he feels a lot better this time off the ACL than he did last time. Ronald is a very confident man. So We'll see.
When is he back? When's he designated for
expected to be back in late April or early May.
That's not bad.
Which to me means mid-April because he is always he's not a real human. Like he's a bionic man. He always, when he gets hurt, is back way quicker than you think he is.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Maybe just take a little more time.
And he's mentioned in spring training, like, I've got to pick and choose my moments to go all out now. Mm-hmm. He's like, maybe not having 50 stolen bases and having 25 to 30 makes me healthier and better for the full season, which I think is 100% true. They're going to be fun. Matt Olson always starts out well. If you're looking for a bet, if you're looking for free money, Matt Olson every year starts off hot. So I would bet anytime home runs for Matt Olson over the first week, and you will be plus money, and you'll come back to me in a week and be like, wow, I did that, and it worked. So free gambling advice. Again, I don't recommend on plus money like that. Put max $5 on it is what I would do. But Matt Olson anytime home run is a good bet for the first couple weeks.
Look at that. I'm like looking through all my pictures of baseball because I like to put like pictures up of like opening day. Y'all, I covered so much baseball in my career. Like half of my photos are baseball. But I'm like, I've not really covered other than Vanderbilt here in town, which I love covering. I'm like, we don't have a pro team. Yeah. We don't have a AAA or a AA. And it's like...
We have AAA.
We have AAA. Yeah. Excuse me. Shout out Sounds. But we don't cover them in terms of local news. When I was local, we didn't cover them like we used to in some of these other markets.
If you hadn't gone to that Sound Stadium over there, get there, though.
By the way, it's opening weekend.
It's a good time. I might try to mosey on down there in some capacity. Braves games, by the way, are phenomenal.
So much fun.
They are.
That
so much
Battery
fun.
District, I think is what it's called.
You gotta just stay there.
Yes. The Omni right there where you look over the field.
Nice.
That's a cheat code.
It's really
not a cheap code, but it is a cheat code.
Not cheap,
but I tell you, the
I've done it a couple times. It's so fun.
Restaurants in that area, though, are nice. That pizza spot.
Yeah.
Where you get the wood.
I forget what it's called, but it's really good.
And you can buy your drinks and bring them in to the stadium.
I don't think you could do that.
Yeah, we just did it. We just did it.
I only did that because last July I went. Actually, somebody passed out.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, there's a brewery and stuff outside that you can buy the beer and they allow you to take it in. They have game-issued cups and you can take it in.
It's pretty cool.
That's awesome, man.
It's like all part of it, I guess.
The amount of garlic they put on that pizza down there is godly, okay? It is phenomenal.
There was one day in college, I knew I was getting older because in one day I went with buddies and I, on the way, had a steak and shake, burger and milkshake. We got to Atlanta. I had the varsity. We went to the game and I had an order of garlic fries. And then I had a Waffle House on the way back home afterwards. Woo. And my stomach wanted to be on the outside versus the inside after the game.
I would say
But you can eat your way through Atlanta. It's a very good time.
You really can.
Very good time.
It's a good place.
Coming up, Sweet 16 tonight. We've got a Thursday Sweet 16 preview for you. Every team's pathway to victory and what to watch for in the 4 games this evening next.
It's Ramon Foster for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Y'all, they have my seal of approval with this deal that could help change your life, man. It's the behind the scenes, behind the line offer, okay? Where it's a $37 consultation, and that includes a doctor's visit, x-rays if you need them, and your first treatment. If you need a more in-depth treatment, well, because you're part of the Zone family, they will give you 50% off spinal decompression treatment. Man, and listen, Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley just want you to get better. It is that simple. Whether you've been lifting weights all your life, picking up kids, just day-to-day tasks, or you know what, sometimes your back issues could just be genetic, or you just never know. You get older and you turn a certain way and it hurts. It's not just for athletes, it's for you too, is what I'm telling you. So start your road to a pain-free life, and it is possible, I'm telling you, by going to the Wellness Institute of Nashville, where they can lay you down on their zero-gravity machines or help you with their spinal decompression machines. They are legit. But call them, 615-246-5009, or go to painisbad.com.
Ramon, who is this? RKW, brewed by Scooter's Coffee.
I got it. Dirks Bentley.
Hey!
Wow, good job.
Justin didn't tell me either.
Look at you.
Justin, not familiar with our country music education. When we have country music on, Justin, we ask Ramon who it is. He usually says Garth Brooks or George Strait.
I remember those conversations.
Or Toby Keith.
Toby
Keith.
May he rest in peace.
Yeah,
that's right.
May he rest in peace and peace, baby.
So what you're saying is it's a challenge.
It is.
Sure.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I'm up for it.
A peek behind the curtain, Bert would play the same music every day because we were less incentivized to talk about it and get distracted. So he would bore us with the same music every day, and he knew it, too.
Yep.
So anyway.
I enjoy this, though. I feel like we're
moving on. We're letting this continue, so we're moving on.
I'm 1-0 in 2025, Dan. Let's also note that.
1-0. We can continue this challenge as long as we only spend about 10 seconds on it.
My goal every day is to have Ramon look back at one song saying it's a hit.
Skate to one song and one song only. Tonight's NCAA tournament games, guys. Who are you most excited to watch? What's the game you're most looking forward to?
I think Florida Maryland is going to be a wash.
I do too.
Whoa. Hold on.
Wait.
I thought you were going to say that was the one you're most looking forward to.
No,
You think it's a wash?
I think it might be a blowout.
Oh, no. I'm here to tell you why Maryland might win the game.
Really?
The one I'm most excited to see is the first one. Alabama BYU.
Well, that's going to be that'd be a lot of points. Yeah, it'd be fun.
So do you want to talk about that game, or do you want me to tell you why Maryland might beat Florida?
Let's start with that.
Let's go with Maryland first.
So here's the thing. Maryland has lost 8 games, all by 6 or fewer.
Yep.
Terps have been in every game they've played. Mm-hmm. They are good at one thing that Florida is really good at. Defending one thing Florida is really good at. They are a solid transition defense team.
Yep.
44th nationally on per possession basis. They only allowed 7 transition points in their first round win over Grand Canyon, 12 in their win over Colorado State. Now, in the Big Ten tournament against Michigan, they gave up 20 fast break points. But they're shooting really well from 3 right now, Maryland. Better than their season percentage. If they are as hot from 3 as they were in the first 2 games, albeit against a much better defense in Florida than what they've seen so far in Grand Canyon and Colorado State, this season, Maryland was over 40% from deep in their first 2 games of the tournament. The Terps are 16-2 this season when they are 37% or more from 3 or better. Okay. Derek Queen is the name to watch here. Part of that Montverde team that was unreal with Cooper Flagg coming out of high school. Derek Queen and Julian Reese inside. If those two can hold their own against Florida, who just got bigs upon bigs upon bigs upon bigs that they just keep rolling out there, I think this game could be really interesting. Okay. And I think UConn showed off how to actually do it. UConn allowed 8 fast break points to the Gators. 8 fast break points. Florida averages 19 transition points per game. Per game. That's so crazy of how fast they move. So Maryland, the problem is they don't have depth. They do not have Florida's depth. And that is why you see teams that are often in games but can't finish them. It's because they don't have dudes to roll in that can continue to keep that same level of play over 40 minutes. But I think if Florida misses some shots and Maryland can grab some rebounds and keep them from running, I think they could pull this off.
And I think the reason why I think it will be a blowout, and look, the Terps, when it comes to the stat you gave, they haven't lost by more than 6 points all season. That's impressive. They have 14.1 turnovers per game in terms of what they average. So there are ways that they can win this game, but it's almost like the plan has to be perfect. And I do feel like Florida, and the depth included in that, I think Florida got an awakening by UConn, actually, because I think Florida is a way better team. And I do feel like, they know they have the depth. I think that actually could have been the worst thing that happened to the Terps is having UConn kind of awaken Florida in that way.
And that's the thing, like I said, the reason I think it's just going to be a wash for Florida is in the sense of like their depth and their ability to just blitz you each and every half, especially when it comes to their bigs. I don't see the young freshman Derek Queen just being as attacking as he has been, especially in that last game. Like you mentioned, like them having 5. They got 5. And the reason why he said I'm taking the shot is because who else are they going to besides? Yes, exactly. So, and right now, I'm such a believer in Walter Clayton Jr. And his ability to just be a splash player. Like when he kicks his legs and leans to the left to shoot that three-point shot, it's just automatic as it can get. Their offensive ability to me is why I can't see Maryland holding on for too long.
Also, the Gators, real quick, great offensive rebounding team. They're solid. And I don't think as of late, Maryland's been as good in terms of that.
To your point about who else could take the shot for Maryland, all 5 starters average double figures.
Yeah, I saw that too.
They got anybody that can take a shot.
I'd love for it to be a good game. Don't get me wrong. I want them all to be good games.
I think they are the kind of team that can give Florida trouble. Okay. That is what I will say. I'm not going to pick them to do it. I think Florida wins the game, but I think that one is not a blowout. I think that one's a good game.
Okay.
I hope so. I do.
I'd love to see a good round of 6.
As much as you can tire Florida down, the better it is for us moving forward.
Gator Mike will not like that one.
The first game of the evening, BYU, Alabama points. Points, and more points are going to be scored. Then add some more points, and then here's another couple more for you. BYU is getting a good version of Mark Sears for Cougars fans. He is 5 of 35 from deep over his last 6 games, Mark Sears.
Not good.
Now, BYU does not know how to play defense. And I'm going to do it. BYU beats Alabama tonight. I'm picking the upset.
Really?
I think the matchup is really bad for Alabama. And reading about this at CBSSports.com and just watching Alabama play, they struggle defending the pick and roll. Okay. What does BYU do? Put Yegor Demeen, their star player, in a lot of pick and rolls. 6'9" freshman, projected lottery pick, 10.5 points per game, 5.5 assists per game. If BYU hits some shots, which I think they will, I think BYU upsets Alabama tonight. I will put my name on that at 9:29 a.m. this morning.
I'll be honest, I'm more familiar with Alabama and what they're capable of and just their size. Who's their big that they have? Nelson. Yes.
Diabate?
No, Grant Nelson. His ability to play around the perimeter and also crash the boards and also get a bucket around the rim, I think it's something that it's more than just Mark Sears for me. It's also his incorporation. Because Grant Nelson, Alabama's forward, the stash, he's by far one of the cooler ones with a mustache on his face, for the single strips
I don't love them all,
across his face, but his is all right. But his ability to be as big as he is and also play like a small forward at times, I see as being an X factor if Mark Sears can't do what you want him to do in a game like this. I'm a huge fan of his. I'm familiar with what Bama, and I think this is I think Bama pulls away just because of how offensive they are, too.
I think Sears has to be on, like Will said. You mentioned those stats. It's just crazy. 35 threes, he's made 5 of them as of late. And you got to be better.
Clutch.
You cannot allow BYU. You're talking about the shooting, and they're both similar. You can't allow those simple threes, right? That cannot happen in this game. Else, BYU can win it. I do think this is going to come down to the wire as well. But, man, it's going to be a fast, fun game no matter what.
What's that tip-off? That tip-off is
6:09.
The first one,
First
right?
game. Yep.
Yeah.
Central?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
I'm not going to give you any Eastern
I know
time,
you said it twice until it becomes ingrained in my mind. Will we got to ask
the first game you'll hear tonight on the Zone, courtesy of Westwood One. Alabama's pathway to victory. BYU is ranked 248 in 3-point defense.
Ooh, Lord.
Alabama will have some open threes. You just got to make them.
Yes,
they are allowing opponents to shoot 35% from 3, which is actually right at Alabama's season average. Richie Saunders leads the way, 16 points per game. BYU has 5 players that have made 40-plus threes. It truly might be that simple. You make your outside shots, you beat Alabama. You don't, you probably lose. Yeah. So, next up, we have one final game for Caleb Love against Duke. This guy just loves playing Duke. He did not love it the first time these two teams played back in November. A rematch of a game that Duke won 69-55 in November. This is his 10th career game, Caleb Love, against Duke. Yeah. In 5 wins, he has averaged 20.8 per game with 44% shooting, 36% from 3. In 4 losses to Duke, to Duke, Caleb Love has averaged 9 points per game, 28% shooting, and 15% from 3.
The question is can Arizona to that point score what Duke is going to do too? They're almost close to, from what I've seen, 50% from the field this year, and that's where it becomes problematic for a team like Arizona. And not just that, their ability to have a big, what's the big at Duke? His ability to rim protect has been huge for them, and also can he body a guy that they need on the floor? Former Vol Toby Awaka. He, to me, is instrumental in what they got going on because, again, Duke's athleticism with Cooper Flagg and the guys they have on that squad, to me, can nipple both. They want to get to the rim. They want to be around the basket. And if he can stay out of the way and stay out of foul trouble, I feel better about them competing with Duke. Duke's just got some guys. It is.
Yeah. It's a good team. It's a good team offensively
and defensively. Absolutely. That walk they've had through the ACC is not because the ACC is down. They're just that good.
Yeah, and Duke, like you said, I mean, they're the cream of the crop this year, at least one of those. And you've got an Arizona team that, my God, tradition is huge there. They live for Arizona basketball in Tucson, right? And Tommy Lloyd, great coach. But he's not been able to get over that Sweet 16 hump. They expect so much more there in terms of their basketball program. And this just, for them, kind of stinks that they run into a roadblock like this early on in the tournament. We talk about the draws all the time.
Yeah.
It's not like they can't compete in this game. I think that the craziest thing about this all is, obviously, if Love can continue to have a good game against Duke.
He's expected to also.
And he's expected to. He's got to. But Duke has not been in moments where they've really been on the edge or tested really. And I think if Arizona can make them really feel tested, that could be possibly a benefit for the Cats in this game if they can do that.
One team that did is out, and that's Clemson.
Yeah.
Well, they did in the ACC tournament when they had to grind to beat UNC.
And you
off
wondered,
the lane violation.
Yeah, and you wondered in the tournament if that's
sad.
Yeah.
That was. Yeah, that was dumb. Screw, we can call it what it is. That was dumb. The fake jump in.
I think it's a really bad matchup for Arizona. Duke right now, Ken Pom has them number 1 in offensive efficiency, number 4 in defensive efficiency. The best effective field goal percentage defense in all of college basketball. I don't see a weakness on Duke's team. They don't turn it over. They're good inside. Only 25% of Arizona's points have come on threes this season. Arizona relies heavily on scoring in the paint and going inside. Henry Vaser and Tobe Awaka important to this one. KJ Lewis and Caleb Love, the guards. But Duke, in terms of average height, is the tallest team in college basketball.
They're huge.
And Cooper Flagg essentially allows you to have an extra big on the floor because he operates and handles the ball like a guard, but he is so long. I don't think Arizona is capable of making enough outside shots to get over that Duke interior defense. I think Duke clogs up the middle and can take away the tough twos for Arizona that make them who they are. I think it'll be a fine game. I think Duke pulls away late. I don't like the matchup for Arizona. I don't think it's the type of team that they can have a tremendous amount of success with.
Yep. It's a bummer again that they have to meet them in the Sweet 16 out of all places.
Well,
so.
at least you say at least they're there.
Those Arizona basketball fans were something.
Y'all, they're nasty.
When Tennessee played down there a couple years ago.
Nasty.
On social media, too, they were
they're nasty.
They were very annoying.
Arizona fans
I loved covering that team, don't get me wrong.
They're not Ohio State level, but they were very annoying.
Even my dad will say, when Washington State used to play them during Pac-12 play, they were always nasty to our fans.
Yeah, they're intense.
I didn't see it when I covered them because I was covering them. But
Only
I
on
guess
basketball is football like that too.
Football's crap.
They're not relevant in football.
Football's crap there. Yeah,
they got Jed Fish, but
yeah. Good luck.
They're getting there.
I mean, Tech came from there.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Yeah,
Tech McMillan, the wide receiver.
Yeah.
They got stuff to work on there, though.
And then there is Texas Tech and Arkansas. Can John Calipari do it one more time? The Cinderella story. A multi-million-dollar roster with a big head coach who's won a national title before.
What sucks for Texas Tech is Arkansas has figured out who the heck they are. That is the worst.
They certainly have.
They really have.
They got healthy, too.
Yep.
They did get healthy, man. And there's, in my opinion, man, as far as guard play, there's nobody really playing as good or as confident as DJ Wagner. There are, but as far as their team goes, where he is as a player,
100%.
His shot selection, his defense, his ability to thrash, slash, and have opportunities for guys. He is a smart basketball player, and I think that's what they are in the incorporation of their bigs and how Jonas Adu has somewhat turned it on, and just the incorporation of their ability to get to the rim and effectively get to the rim is huge right now for Arkansas. Tennessee means nothing when Cal is on the other side of that for me.
That's right.
That was my one team that I thought could maybe make a little bit of run that would be surprising. So it's interesting to see Calipari doing this right now with this team that's healthy. But Tech is a team that not a lot of people have talked about this year. And I think overall, though, Tech's a pretty good team on both sides of the ball. I think they're even in terms of how they execute things. So they don't make a ton of mistakes. So it will be a challenge for Cal and the guys. But I do see Arkansas just at this point, they're clicking.
Do you think they'll win the game?
I would pick Arkansas to win this game.
I think they might.
I kind of think they will. I have this weird feeling.
So the thing about Arkansas is when they ran into St. John's, that's the first time St. John's had seen athletes like that in a minute. Yeah. With respect to UConn, who I had some dudes, and Creighton, who has Kalkbrenner, who's like a 7'3", maybe National Defensive Player of the Year, even though it should be Zakai Ziegler, Jemai Meshack.
True.
The same thing goes for JT Toppin tonight in Texas Tech. Ain't no stopping JT Toppin, the lefty Big 12 post player who is Conference Player of the Year. Excellent player out of the Big 12. Jonas Adu and Trayvon Brazil and Big Z, Zvonimir Ivicic, helped shut down Hunter Dickinson in Kansas. Yeah. They helped take away the interior game for St. John's, the big physical bigs that they've got. If you get the best version of Jonas Adu again, I think Arkansas might win. I've watched enough Jonas Adu to know, unfortunately, when he goes on these 1 or 2 game stretches of being his best, he very rarely is 3 games in a row. He's had some really good moments, but the second that first mid-range doesn't go in and Jonas's head drops, it's like, oh, okay, we're getting the bad Adu tonight. He has to be excellent tonight, and he can't get in early foul trouble, which also happens a lot with Jonas. But him and JT Toppin's going to be a really fun matchup.
That's what I was going to say.
Really, really fun matchup. Arkansas can't shoot. They're not a good three-point shooting team. 246th in three-point shooting percentage this year in college basketball. But they beat Kansas and St. John's without shooting well from 3. They were 2 of 19 from 3 against St. John's. And they pulled off the upset against a 2-seed. JT Toppin and Darian Williams, the important guys, and the veteran point guard Elijah Hawkins. I think Texas Tech just barely gets it done. I think that might be the closest game of the night. I think that and BYU Alabama are the 2 really tight ones. I think Tech gets it right at the end.
If Arkansas goes through the paint in this game, I feel better about them getting it. Because, again, one of the highlights Arkansas have is the fact that John L. Davis is averaging 1.6.
Another good March player.
It's having him available, right? But, again, JT Toppin and of course, Jonas Adu. That's where I think the matchup plays a huge part in who wins or loses this game.
Should be fun.
Yeah.
It should be.
It's going to be a great night of hoops. Again, with the complaints about the lack of Cinderellas, I think are warranted for the first round, but it does give you a better Sweet 16.
Sure. More competitive.
And I think some of these brands that are playing too, I think this is going to be one of the most watched Sweet 16s and Elite 8 weekends in the history of the NCAA tournament.
We just listed a whole bunch just in that first day, which is crazy. By the way, interesting note about the Titans.
We will do that. Coming up next about a workout with Shedeur Sanders. Coming up.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Good people, they have been around here since 1990. Cool part about it is they're family-owned and operated, which means they're local, man. Jimmy Hiller was recently named amongst the most admired CEOs, and it's because of how he truly cares for his team and his clients. They take care of the customer on every job, every single time, and they stand by their word. Their slogan is, happy you'll be or the service is free. If a customer isn't pleased with the work performed, they will make it right, all right? But they always send a professional, experienced, and trustworthy technicians into your home, and they leave it cleaner and better than they found it. Best part about all of this, especially if you have to spend some money, is the true transparency pricing. That means every part of the job is lined out up front, so homeowners understand what they're paying for and why. No hidden fees, no added costs, no surprises when you get your bill. Simply put, what you ask for is what you get with Hiller, and it's always the best. To learn more, book with Hiller. Simply go to happyhiller.com.
RKW 104.5 The Zone, brewed by Scooters Coffee, wrapping up your Thursday morning. And Ian Rappaport of NFL Media has a workout schedule for Shedeur Sanders. And says the workouts are slated to take place after Colorado's Pro Day on April 4th. Says Cam Ward also with a workout schedule. Worked out for the Browns yesterday and is working out for the Titans today. So there you go.
And his only other workout in a private workout is with the Browns.
Yeah, I wouldn't go. He has no need of like working out with anybody else past Cleveland. Just absolutely none at all.
Yeah.
That's correct.
So,
sorry, Giants.
There you go. Sorry, Giants.
And then, workouts with Shedeur Sanders after that as well. So, hello, Cam Ward, if you're listening.
Hi, Cam. Hi, Cam. Biggest fan right here. Hi, Cam.
We know.
Hi, Cam. In all seriousness, I've handled myself pretty well for being a person who's really enjoyed his work in terms of what he's done. I just appreciate the athlete Cam is and the journey he's been on. I appreciate any athlete that's really been put through the grind to be where they are now. And that's exactly what he's done.
Well, you don't show that appreciation to me. Look at... No, I'm joking.
Well, I just met him 2 years ago.
0.0001% chance of Cam Ward listening right now. He'll appreciate that.
No, I can't. Seriously, I understand and get that.
It's like you guys die for some of your Vols, like in terms of those are your guys.
I don't, because I don't want to seem like a super homer. And if there's like the odds of them like picking...
I'm just talking about Vols in general.
Oh, yeah, I love them. But we're also like, we speak about them because we cover them too, though. That'd be the only thing. Well, we'll have the opportunity soon to cover Cam Ward.
We will.
Yeah. And you bet your bottom dollar I'll have a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't become his go-to in the locker room, I'm gonna be highly upset. I'm gonna be like, yo, Kayla, what's happening?
Yeah, we got T. Martin in there too.
Who? T.
Martin.
Tay Martin.
Excuse me.
I was about to say T. Martin.
He finished his career. He finished his career somewhere else too.
At Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah. Spent 3
he
years.
Was a cool.
Spent 3 years in.
Did he?
State. Yeah. Sure did.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. So that is the workouts for today. Looking forward to it. We will be at least. Are we going to Fog Street today? 3HL's going to be there. I did
not learn about this till I guess me being out on Monday. I just was not in the loop.
Fog Street Lawn Club, where you can hang out with 3HL today and watch some games. Great deal. Or $10 gets you a drink ticket and an appetizer buffet. This place is awesome. Like, Fog Street Lawn Club is so cool. That's where we did an NSC show at the end of last season.
Is it axe throwing?
The rooftop. There's axe throwing. There's lawn bowling.
Oh, shit.
There's really good drinks. There's Fuller's London Pride, which is my favorite London beer.
Do we have
it's on draft there? Yeah, it's great.
I had never heard of this place until now.
It's awesome. It's new.
I got enlightened to it the other day.
I've been talking about it for months.
I guess
talk about it on air.
It's just a weird name. So
Lucas asked me if I was going to also. Yeah, absolutely. I think the whole gang will show up.
Nice.
I love it.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Be a good time.
Should be a good time. Outside the studio for once or twice in our careers.
I am an appetizer person. So an appetizer buffet is very appealing to me. I am the type that I will convince anyone I'm with to get an appetizer wherever I go.
I'm a big
100% of the time.
For the appetizer, then look, we don't need to be eating together. Anybody have ever fixed it with me? Like, we have been legit. Like, the appetizers, like, we ate together, all of us before. Like, we're ordering them. Like, bring them to the table because we need to see what the quality is first.
Sound like Buck and his bottle service.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll get that too. Remember we had our appetizer draft way back when we were doing those drafts?
Yeah, yes.
We had some good ones on there.
Firecracker shrimp, baby.
You can also come see us tomorrow in Mount Juliet. We will be broadcasting live all day from multiple Middle Tennessee Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply locations. We are celebrating Ferris Day. At Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. We will be at the Mount Juliet location. The Buck Rising Show will be in Brentwood. And then Cover 2 of Blaine and Zach and 3HL will be in the borough. So you can stop by and say hello to us tomorrow. And it'll be great. There's also a Scooters Coffee right down the road from the Mount Juliet Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. So, you could either come see us and bring us coffee from Scooters, and I'll foot the bill for it. I'll Venmo you back. Or you can just go get it for yourself and thank us later because you'll love it.
Absolutely.
Mount Juliet Road right there.
I do not envy them going to Murfreesboro. Lord, that's a
That's all right. They'll be okay.
No, I'm definitely glad to be going to Mount Juliet, okay? You say it's all right. I'm definitely excited to go to Mount Juliet.
It takes a special kind of person to drive that Murfreesboro traffic every day, back and forth. If you're doing that and listening right now,
thank y'all.
Shout out to you.
Yeah, I live in Murfreesboro.
Justin Hawkins.
You live in Murfreesboro?
Is one of those people.
I didn't know that.
I have for 5 years.
There is, I don't know what it is about the stretch of road from the downtown loop to Murfreesboro, but man, it's like the Autobahn. Like people are either going 100 or 40, and I feel like there's no in between.
There's no,
with all due respect. So if you're braving if you're braving that road, shout out to you. You're suffering.
No, 100%. You are, not just at the road repair. Which T-Dot, shout out to y'all. The potholes this year, I ain't really noticed it like that.
But they good because they've been awful for the past 2 years.
They have
so
been.
Glad that you got your you-know-what together.
Yeah, boy.
Time.
Former Knoxville sports guy Mark Nagy, you'll let him know. Works for T-Dot.
Thanks.
He does.
Give him a shout-out.
Thanks,
Great follow on Twitter.
Shout out to y'all, man. I'm appreciative of that.
He's my fantasy football commissioner in one of the 2 leagues I won this year, not to brag.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Boo.
No, I know ball. It's good.
If you don't have a picture, it didn't happen. You didn't have a picture, it didn't happen.
Becoming a caricature of what I hate. The Buck Rising Show is up next. Basketball tonight's going to be great. Any upsets? I'm standing on BYU over Bama. Y'all going chalk?
Ooh, gosh.
I got, if they're considering Arkansas over Texas Tech.
Okay,
yeah, and that's the one I was going to go with, even though it doesn't sound like an upset. It is technically an upset.
Hey, man, it's supposed to be. Florida good?
I think it'll be a good game, but I think Florida pulls away from Maryland late. Yeah, I think they make enough shots late.
Okay, all right.
Hard to bet against Walter Clayton Jr. the way he's playing right now.
I don't know if
that whole team
on this downfall or excited to see him play.
Back at it tomorrow morning. We will have a loaded Friday show getting you ready for Tennessee, Kentucky, and we will have Brent Hubbs and Ron Slay.
Nice.
Ready for your Big Orange Friday. That's tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
Yeah, good people. Stay safe out there. Have some safe bets if you do that today for March Madness. But at all times, don't get on Twitter because your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.